football start with Ronaldo's star card. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176 European Golden Boy Award. Shanghai. Big Association Headquarters. The clock on the wall of the conference room pointed to 9 o'clock in the evening. Normally, the staff of the Pig Association should have left work at this time. But now the conference room is full of people. It's not that they don't want to leave. It's just that the outside of the headquarters is surrounded by angry Longguo fans. No one dares to leave. It's okay to be thrown to rotten eggs and a few pieces of watermelon rind by the fans. What if a few fruit knives fly out from the angry fans? What if the flying fruit knife just hits the vitals? What to do then? Even if there is no fruit knife, being hit on the back of the head by a brick is not good. Zhenhui looked at the frightened staff in front of him with a dark face. The anger in his heart rushed to his forehead. Bang! A heavy slap hit the table. Zhenhui pointed at the noses of everyone present and yelled, "You still have the mood to care whether the fans outside will cause trouble? Are you still in the mood to worry whether you will get hurt? Are you still in the mood to care whether the fans will rush in? Just take care of your own problems first." Zhang Jian, what did you say to me at the beginning? Didn't you say that Xiao Chenhui was arrogant and didn't want to return to play for his country? Then tell me what's going on in this video. Tell me. Zhang Jian said silently with a dejected look on his face. What can I say? Haven't you seen the facts? I just mentioned the training fee to that kid according to the rules. It's not too much. Isn't it always done this way? Zhenhui could no longer suppress his anger and stood up and rushed to Zhang Jian. He grabbed his collar and forcibly pulled him up from his seat. You still think it's normal, don't you? Who gave you this bad habit? Immediately, right now, submit your resignation report to me. Then get out of this building. Never let me see you again. Just when Zhenhui was furious, another deputy head in charge of external publicity stood up. Holding the phone, he said to Zhenhui with an ugly face, "This year's European Golden Boy Award selection has been announced, and the final winner is Xiao Chenhui." Zhenhui is not a professional. He is not sure what the European Golden Boy Award is, but from the look of the deputy head, he can guess that the European Golden Boy Award does not seem to be an ordinary award. After all, it has the word Europe. Zhenhui threw Zhang Jian aside and asked him to write a resignation report. Then he reluctantly put away his anger and sat back in the position of the head. The deputy head who spoke before immediately recounted the origin of the Golden Boy Award of Europe. The Golden Boy Award of Europe was founded by the Italian Torino Sports Daily in 2003. The award is composed of a selection panel composed of mainstream media in more than 20 European countries. The selection panel votes. The best young player of the year who plays in Europe is selected. Therefore, it is also considered a coming-of-age ceremony for young rookies. It is the first step for young players to become world superstars. The selected objects must be young players under the age of 21 who play for European clubs. Superstars such as Van der Vaart, Rooney, Messi, Fabregas, Agüero, etc. have all been winners of the Golden Boy Award of Europe. Last year, in 2013, the winner of this award was the French star Pogba, who rose rapidly in Juventus. And this year's list of candidates for the Golden Boy Award of Europe has a total of 40 people. Sterling and Januzaj, who originally played in the Premier League, are the most popular candidates. But Xiao Chenhui emerged in the midterm Serie A league. He led Brescia to win the halftime championship and won the top scorer in the halftime. He also performed well in the Europa League. His performance was really excellent. He far surpassed Sterling, Januzaj and others, and was catching up with world-class superstars who had been famous for many years. It was natural for him to get more votes. What's more, he was a young player playing in Serie A. The founder of the European Golden Boy Award, Turin Sports Daily, would naturally give him more points. Absolute strength plus a little bit of preference. This year's European Golden Boy Award fell into Xiao Chenhui's pocket. Hearing the explanation of the deputy head, Zhenghui's head hurt even more. Even if he was not a professional, but it is impossible that he had not heard of the names of Messi, Rooney, Fabregas and others. Xiao Chenhui was able to reach the same height as they were at the same age at the age of 18. Doesn't it mean that he may become the next Messi, Rooney, and Fabregas in the future? Doesn't it prove that the pig association is blind? And they even banned him. His face was swollen. Chenhui glanced at Zhang Jian squatting in the corner with frustration. He was so angry that he roared angrily, "Write it quickly. Get out of here when you're done." It was all this idiot's fault. If he hadn't gone to Italy and the talks with Xiao Chenhui hadn't broken down, how could there be so many troubles now? Oh, so annoying. At the same time, outside the headquarters of the pig association, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan worth more than 7 million Longguo currency exuded a ferocious roar. It braked angrily at the entrance. More than 20 Mercedes-Benz cars lined up in a neat queue and stopped immediately. The distance between each car was kept at an astonishing 1 meter. It was as if it had been measured with a ruler in advance. The scene was extremely spectacular. Seeing this scene, the fans who were surrounded near the pig association headquarters building were deeply shocked. Who is this? Which underworld boss is here to pick a fight? Could he be a Longguo fan too? Want to demolish the pig association building on the spot? Amid the whispers of the fans, the door of the Rolls-Royce Cullinan was opened. Tang Long, the first assistant and personal bodyguard of Xiao Han, the president of Han Tang Group, walked down first. He came to the door of the back seat and stretched out his hand to open the door. A middle-aged man with a stern face walked down from the car. His facial lines were very hard. He was a leader who had been in a high position for many years. "Let's go. I want to see who dares to bully my son." Xiao Han walked forward coldly. Tang Long followed him closely. More than 20 Mercedes-Benz cars behind the Rolls-Royce Cullinan turned off at the same time. Dozens of burly men in black suits lined up in 2 teams. They followed closely behind Xiao Han. There was a clanging sound of footsteps. The sharp-eyed fans quickly recognized Xiao Han's identity. They screamed in shock. "Oh my god. Isn't that President Xiao of Han Tang Group? Why is he here?" With this scream, more and more people recognized Xiao Han's identity. All kinds of discussions blurted out. It seems that President Xiao is also a fan. He is here to settle accounts with the pig association. President Xiao is a famous philanthropist. In my heart, he is a knight in ancient times who wields a sword to eradicate injustice. With him around, the pig association must be disbanded today. Yes, I'm one of the poor students sponsored by President Xiao, and our school was funded by President Xiao. There are not many big entrepreneurs with a conscience like President Xiao, but President Xiao has always been very low-key. Why is he traveling so high profile this time? Huh? Did you hear what he said just now? I seem to hear that he came to ask for an explanation for his son. Yes, I seem to hear it too. Damn. Brother Hui's surname is Xiao, and President Xiao's surname is also Xiao. It can't be such a coincidence, right? I think it's about the same. Brother Hui had just declared war on the pig association, and President Xiao brought his men to kill him. It's hard to say if there is any connection between them. Chapter 177 Who dares to touch my son? Bang! The door of the meeting room at the pig association headquarters was kicked open. Chenhui and others looked at the door with gloomy faces. Who was so bold as to come to the pig association headquarters to cause trouble? Could it be that the angry fans outside came in? 2 rows of big men in black stood on both sides of the door of the conference room. Xiao Han walked in with powerful steps. As soon as they saw that it was the president of Han Tang Group, the gloom on the faces of Chenhui and others disappeared instantly. What a joke. This is the god of wealth. Half of the funds for the Dragon Country team to compete in international competitions were funded by him. How can we offend him? Hey, what wind blew President Xiao here? Chenhui greeted him with a smile, as if he had changed his face. However, the chill emanating from Xiao Han did not diminish because of his smile. Instead, it became even colder. Xiao Chenhui is my son. I wonder who dares to touch him? Xiao Han said this. The whole audience was shocked. Oh my god. Xiao Chenhui is Xiao Han's son? No one told me in advance. If I had known that they were father and son, why would I have a shooter ban? The money sponsored by Xiao Han is enough for the training fees of 100 players. Okay. Zhang Jian, who was squatting in the corner, suddenly had the urge to bang his head against the wall. Just for a mere 500,000 yuan. Offended Xiao Han, such a great god of wealth? No one can stop me. Let me die here. Ke Zhenghua glared at Zhang Jian fiercely. This guy's more likely to cause trouble than to help. He wastes air when he is alive and wastes land when he dies. I was really blind at the beginning. Why send him to Italy for no reason? Not only did he fail to recruit Xiao Chenhui, he also offended the big mountain behind that kid. What is this? He grinned awkwardly and reluctantly. Ke Zhenghua said to Xiao Han with a smile that was uglier than crying. You see, this matter is a misunderstanding from beginning to end. So, tomorrow. Oh, no. I will send someone to cancel the ban and restore Xiaohu's reputation. We must reuse such an outstanding talent as Xiaohu. You know, not everyone can get the European Golden Boy Award. How can we turn a blind eye to it? European Golden Boy Award. Xiao Han came in a hurry and didn't know what had just happened. Normally, the selection of the European Golden Boy Award is usually at the end of the year. But because of the scandal that shocked the world, it was postponed to January 2015. But the award was still given in 2014. Tang Long quickly took out his mobile phone, searched for information about the European Golden Boy Award, then handed the phone to Xiao Han. Xiao Han looked down for 5 minutes. A trace of relief gradually appeared at the corner of his mouth. The European Golden Ball Award is the highest personal honor for young players all over the world. In the past, it has always been won by young players from Europe and South America. No player from other continents has ever been able to get involved. Xiao Chenhui broke this curse in one fell swoop. He became the first Asian to win the European Golden Boy Award besides European and South American players. If such an achievement is not considered a success, then what is success? So Xiao Han, who has always been strict with his son, couldn't help but smile. This brat unknowingly gave me such a big surprise. It's not in vain for your father to come here to help you. I'm happy today. Let these pigs go. Xiao Han put away the smile on his lips. He said to Ke Zhenghua, 2 days later, a game will decide the winner. My son lost, and I will no longer interfere in this matter. You lost, and the one who represents Longguo in international competitions must be the Dragon team. Ke Zhenghua understood. This is a challenge. Xiao Han meant that he wanted the Dragon team formed by Xiao Chenhui to play a game with the Dragon country team under the rule of the Pig Association. Whoever wins will be qualified to represent the Dragon country team. President Xiao, I still need to report this matter to the higher-ups. This is a serious matter, and I cannot make the decision on my own. Ke Zhenghua's face looked a little ugly, and his attitude towards Xiao Han was not as polite as before. Can you figure out who is the boss? Is it your turn as an entrepreneur to make decisions about Longguo football? Even if you are ranked 7th on the list of the richest people in Longguo, it is not okay. However, Xiao Han obviously did not intend to save face for Ke Zhenghua. He retorted hard, that's your business, I only look at the results of the game. By the way, I forgot to tell you that this game was decided by the people above. If you don't believe it, you can call to verify it. After saying this, Xiao Han walked out without looking back. Everyone is a person of status. Can we really solve the problem with force? If he is not sure, why would he come to the door to fight for his status? After watching Xiao Han leave, Ke Zhenghua took out his mobile phone as soon as possible. He dialed the number above. 2 minutes later, he fell into a chair in despair. What Xiao Han said was right. The higher-ups have decided to select the team representing Dragon Country football through a park match. The duel between the Dragon team and the Dragon Country team cannot be changed. Ke Zhenghua felt it faintly. This matter was not entirely due to the power of Xiao Han. The key point is that the Pig Association has indeed offended the public this time. Otherwise, how could the higher-ups allow the so-called Dragon team to exist reasonably? The whole country is attacking this kind of thing, let alone the Pig Association. Who can withstand it? The pressure from above is also very high. What should I do? What should I do now? You bunch of pig brains, think of a solution for me. Ke Zhenghua was so angry that he couldn't vent it. He had to point the spearhead at this group of people under his command. Zhang Jian, who was shrinking in the corner, rolled his eyes. Bad water began to come out again. If he could help Xiao get through this difficult time, maybe he wouldn't be fired. Just treat it as making up for his mistakes. Okay. When the bad water gathered to a certain extent, a vicious plan emerged. Zhang Jian presented this vicious plan to Xiao with a flattering smile. Xiao originally didn't want to become the same person as Zhang Jian. He relied on a vicious plan that was so bad that it was pus-filled to deal with the park game 2 days later. But things have developed to this point. Once the Dragon Country team loses, he, the head of the Pig Association, will also be finished. The Dragon Country team no longer exists. What's the use of the Pig Association? So after a struggle between heaven and man, Xiao finally spoke with difficulty. Just follow your plan. Zhang Jian was like a prisoner who was about to be exiled and met the emperor's amnesty. He nodded his head vigorously with a smile on his face. At the end, he didn't forget to ask flatteringly, "Leader, then please read my resignation report." Xiao said unhappily, "Wait until the game is over in 2 days." The implication is that, if Zhang Jian's vicious plan is effective, then the resignation report can be delayed. But if such a vicious plan has no effect, Zhang Jian, just go wherever you want. Who knows, maybe Xiao will roll out of this building with him. Chapter 178 Golden Dragon Blood Robe. The news of the internal park match could not be concealed. Xiao Chenhui, the members of the Dragon team, and the majority of fans soon learned about it. After a brief communication with Lippy expressed his willingness to guide the Dragon team to play this game. He is now on a flight to Shanghai. While Lippy was still on the way, the fans set off a huge wave on the internet. Damn. It turns out that brother Hui is the eldest son of the Hantang group, the only legal heir. What kind of football is he still playing? He has such a good family background, but he has to rely on strength. Brother Hui, please accept my knees. Some people just work hard to pursue their dreams. Brother Hui is such a person. I admire him. I have to say, this internal park match is really exciting. Dragon Country football has been dead for so long. It's time to change the old look for a new one. Brother Hui's support groups from all over the world, Shanghai, assemble. Get excited. Countless fans gathered madly to Shanghai through various means of transportation. When Lippy walked out of the Shanghai airport, he was instantly surrounded by fans from all over the country. He thought people were going to celebrate carnival. With the help of Zheng Zhi, he finally got out of the surging crowd and came to Shuanghu. "Hello, Mr. Marcelo." Xiao Chenhui and other members of the Dragon team stood in a row, waiting for Lippy's arrival. There are too many things that need to be changed in Dragon Country football. The selection of coaches is an important part of it. The people sitting in this position are changing like a revolving lantern. But whether it is a foreign coach or a local coach, but no one can give the fans any hope. The reason why Xiao Chenhui respects Lippy so much is that in the course of history, Lippy is the only head coach who can give the Chinese people hope. The historical data is there. If the time is normal, Lippy will take over the position of head coach of the Dragon Country team in 2016. Lead the Dragon Country team to compete in a series of major events until he steps down in 2019. In those 3 years, Lippy led the team to compete in 37 international competitions with 16 wins and 10 draws and a winning rate of 43. And don't forget that he led the team to play in a very high quality game like the World Cup qualifiers. In order to compete for the ticket to the World Cup, the opponents he met also tried their best. It is far from what the local coaches can compare with the water data of the East Asian Cup. And Lippy led the Longguo team to break the fear of South Korea for many years, often reversing and winning when they were behind. At least let the Longguo fans see the bloodiness of their own players. This was rarely seen in the past. In addition, the U23 policy and naturalization policy proposed by Lippy have a far-reaching impact on Longguo football. It has brought Longguo football a relatively simple but sustainable development path. The most important one. Lippy is not like other foreign coaches or big-name foreign players who came to Longguo just for the sky-high salary. He really did his best for Longguo football. So Xiao Chenhui respects Lippy very much. Lippy patted Xiao Chenhui and others on the shoulders one by one. In this way, he established a channel of mutual trust with future disciples. Came to the meeting room. After everyone sat down, Lippi's first question was beyond everyone's expectations. The internal park match is about to begin. Have you prepared the official uniforms for the match? Xiao Chenhui slapped his forehead. He forgot about it. There have been so many things to deal with these days. Who can take care of other things? But dealing with this matter is not a big deal, but it is not a small deal either. The uniforms of any country are made after repeated ideas and repeated considerations. That is the uniform of a team. It represents the culture and characteristics of this country. It must not be compromised. There are only 2 days left before the game, and it is too late to design and cut it now. Are the Dragon team going to compete with the Dragon country team in colorful uniforms? In that case, they will lose a lot in momentum. When everyone was worried, Monica walked in with a cat step. She put a jersey on the table in the conference room. Smiling, she said, I can't help much. I've spent some time these days researching the Dragon team uniforms. What do you think? Xiao Chenhui and others took the jersey designed by Monica and took a look. It's so beautiful. The jersey is mainly red. It's in line with the main color of the Dragon country flag. There is also a golden dragon pattern embroidered from the right shoulder to the chest. It represents another color on the Dragon country flag. It also highlights the cultural characteristics of the Dragon country. The whole jersey gives people a sense of dominance but not publicity. It fits the aesthetics of the Dragon country people. Xiao Chenhui said to Monica excitedly, Great. This jersey is so beautiful. You are really my good wife. Wu Lei and other middle school students flattered her like crazy. This jersey designed by my sister-in-law is so perfect. It's simply perfect. Maybe Lippi didn't understand what good wife meant, but he understood the word sister-in-law. He looked at Monica with a meaningful smile in his eyes. Smiling but not saying anything, Monica felt a little embarrassed. She quickly changed the subject. Since you are all satisfied, let's give this jersey a name. Yang Chen on the side thought carefully for a moment and said, since Xiaohu's nickname is Golden Dragon King, why not call this jersey Golden Dragon Blood Robe? Golden Dragon Blood Robe. Everyone repeatedly savored the meaning of these 4 words. The bright red and gold tones matched each other. The vivid oriental dragon and the Dragon country team emblem on the left chest. It's so appropriate. And the leader of the Dragon team is undoubtedly Xiao Chenhui, who just won the European Golden Boy Award. He is a Golden Dragon King. The other players are of course the dragons representing the Dragon country, to fight for 9 days. This jersey, let's call it the Golden Dragon Blood Robe. After the problem of the jersey was solved, Lippi led everyone into the next stage. A team can't just have a head coach and players. Assistant coaches, physical coaches, team doctors and other positions are also indispensable. Otherwise, it will not be possible to form a complete mechanism from top to bottom, from the front desk to the backstage. It will affect the team's performance to a great extent. After some discussion, Yang Chen volunteered to serve as an assistant coach. Zhui patted his chest and became a physical coach. Duan Zuan was responsible for external publicity, media exchanges and other matters. As for the selection of the team doctor, it was Lippi who solved it. He called his old friend Silvano Cotti in Italy and invited him to come to Longguo to join the Dragon team. Out of trust in Lippi, Silvano Cotti agreed to take a flight to Longguo tonight and meet everyone tomorrow morning. In terms of logistics support, after unanimous consultation, it was temporarily handed over to Monica to take care of it. She is equivalent to the logistics steward of the Dragon team. Although the Sparrow is small, it has all the internal organs. The flag of the Dragon team was raised like this. A dozen people, 7 or 8 guns. But everyone firmly believes that the Dragon team will get better and better. Chapter 179 See Cucumber Brother Dodgeball Emperor. On the afternoon before the internal park match, Xiao Chenhui and the members of the Dragon team had just finished training. Zheng Zhi's phone rang. He glanced at the number displayed on his phone. He asked with some confusion, what does Dawu mean by calling at this time? Dawu? Xiao Chenhui had a deep impression of him. In the early stage of his career, Dawu performed well in the positions of defensive midfielder and 2 fullbacks. But after being selected for the Dragon Country team, he became a little arrogant. Not only did he walk around the field and defend with his eyes, but he also successfully made the headlines of the hot search because of the sentence "I eat sea cucumbers every day." He was ridiculed by fans. So there were a series of nicknames that were not very harmful but extremely insulting, such as Sea Cucumber Brother and Emperor of Dodging Ball. However, it cannot be said that the fans were deliberately humiliating him. Instead, his performance deserved such a title. In the final analysis, he made more and more money and didn't want to continue to work hard to play football. Playing football has changed from a dream to a tool for enjoying life. This is also a common phenomenon among Dragon Country players. If a person wants to die, 8 horses can't pull him back. After exchanging glances with Xiao Chenhui, Zheng Zhi answered Daewoo's call. "Hello, Daewoo." The person on the other end of the phone responded quickly. "Brother Zheng, I thought about it carefully for a day yesterday and decided to join the Dragon team. Can you introduce me to me?" Daewoo wants to join the Dragon team. Zheng Zhi had persuaded him many times before, but he just refused to agree. Why is he taking the initiative to join now? With some doubts, Zheng Zhi asked seriously, "Have you thought about it?" Daewoo gave a firm answer on the phone. "I have thought about it. I'm still young. I don't want to waste my best years like this." Zheng Zhi no longer hesitated. "Okay, then come to Shuanghu and tell everyone in person if you have any ideas." The two chatted briefly for a few more sentences and then hung up the phone. Zheng Zhi turned to look at Xiao Chenhui. "Xiao, Daewoo said he would come over in a while, and he also wants to join the Dragon team. Our team's current lineup is not balanced. There is no candidate who can play left back in the team. Daewoo is good at playing as a defensive midfielder and 2 fullbacks. If he comes, we can have another choice." Zheng Zhi thought that Daewoo could be accepted from a strategic and tactical point of view. However, Xiao Chenhui frowned slightly and did not express his opinion immediately. According to the law of historical development, Daewoo will eventually become the Sea Cucumber Brother and Emperor of Dodging the Ball in the mouths of fans. This shows that his determination is not firm. Xiao Chenhui is somewhat worried about letting such a person join the Dragon team. But Zheng Zhi's words are also reasonable. At present, no one in the Dragon team can play the left back position. This is definitely a major hidden danger for the Dragon team. If Daewoo can join the Dragon team, this hidden danger can be alleviated to a large extent. After thinking for a long time, Xiao Chenhui finally said, "Let's wait for him to come and meet and talk in detail." Before figuring out whether Daewoo's mentality has changed, Xiao Chenhui's attitude was cautious. If Daewoo still maintained his love for football, he could join the Dragon team without any obstacles. But his mentality had begun to change. He no longer regarded football as a dream, but as a tool to make money. Then Xiao Chenhui would never accept him. Even if he was the captain of the Dragon team in the future, it would not work. If the mentality was not right, no matter how good the skills were, it would be useless. Besides, Daewoo's skills were only good compared to those of the Dragon team. Not to mention in Europe, even in Asia, there were many people who were better than him. Soon, Daewoo drove a low-key Volkswagen sedan. Seeing that he was not driving a luxury car, Xiao Chenhui finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it seemed that Daewoo at this age had not yet become the Sea Cucumber Brother later. The other members of the Dragon team expressed their welcome to Daewoo. After a small welcome ceremony, everyone returned to the tactical explanation room. Lippi arranged the tactics for tomorrow's internal park match for everyone. Xiao Chenhui noticed that Daewoo listened very seriously. He almost took a pen to write down every word Lippi said. There were also several times when Lippi's explanation came to a temporary end. Daewoo took the initiative to raise his hand and discuss some issues with Lippi in depth. Lippi was moved by his seriousness. Seeing his positive attitude, Xiao Chenhui couldn't help but question himself. Is it really that I think too much? Do I judge others by my own meanness? I hope I'm just worrying too much. The tactical explanation lasted until after 6 o'clock in the evening. It lasted for 2 hours. As soon as Lippi left, Daewoo stood up and said to Xiao Chenhui and Zheng Zhi, "I'm new here, and I'm not familiar with the styles and characteristics of some brothers. While it's still early, why don't we practice on the training ground, so that I can integrate into the brothers as soon as possible?" Everyone naturally would not refuse his proposal. They happily accompanied him to the training ground. Xiao Chenhui deliberately secretly pulled Zheng Zhi and walked with him at the back. No one knew what he and Zheng Zhi said. When they walked to the training ground, everyone had already distributed the training vests. Dawu excitedly waved to Xiao Chenhui and Zheng Zhi. "Come on, we are ready." Xiao Chenhui showed an enthusiastic smile. "Come on." According to the normal training time, this training match ended in half an hour. The others took off their training vests one after another. They returned to the dormitory temporarily arranged for them to take a shower and rest. Dawu did not stay here on the pretext that he had family to take care of at home. Instead, he drove away in his Volkswagen sedan. Xiao Chenhui and Zheng Zhi sent him to the door. Watching him drive away from sight, Zheng Zhi suddenly said, "Xiao, are you sure?" Xiao Chenhui shook his head slowly, "Not sure yet, but it always feels a little strange." Zheng Zhi retracted his gaze, slowly clenched his fists. "Strange or not, we will know when we play tomorrow. Tonight, it is destined to be a sleepless night." Tomorrow's internal park match affects the hearts of countless fans. It also touched Xiao Chenhui's heart. He lay on the bed, looking up at the starry sky through the window. He looked through the system again and again in his mind. He reviewed his advantages and the skills he had mastered from beginning to end. Tomorrow's battle can only win and not lose. But for the Dragon team, the situation is actually very unfavorable. After all, the Dragon team was just formed not long ago. Except for Zheng Zhi, the other members are all fledgling players. Whether in terms of technology or experience, they are far from being comparable to the Dragon Country team that has been running in for many years. It is not so easy to win this game. Chapter 180 You don't deserve the golden dragon blood robe. The next morning, Xiao Chenhui had just finished his daily morning exercise when Inzaghi called him via video. In the video, he was holding a golden trophy. He said with a smile, "Boy, this trophy belongs to you. To be honest, I have never received such an honor, and I'm a little envious of you." This trophy was the European Golden Boy Award trophy received by Inzaghi. Because Xiao Chenhui was in Longguo, he could not go to receive the award in person. So Inzaghi helped him get it back. Facing Inzaghi's ridicule, Xiao Chenhui smiled and said, "Come on, boss, was there a European Golden Boy Award in your era?" Inzaghi laughed. There was indeed no European Golden Boy Award when he played football. This award was first established in 2003. Inzaghi was already 30 years old at that time. Golden Boy, old man Jin is more like that. Inzaghi put away his smile and said seriously, "Okay, I won't joke with you anymore. I heard that you are going to have an internal park match today. I believe you can definitely beat your opponent. Don't forget, you are the best player under 21 years old in the world. This European Golden Boy Award is just the beginning of your career. There is a 6-hour time difference between Italy and Longguo." Inzaghi called early in the morning. It was not just to show Xiao Chenhui what the European Golden Boy Award trophy looked like. The more important thing was to encourage Xiao Chenhui and inspire his fighting spirit. Xiao Chenhui certainly understood Inzaghi's good intentions. "Boss, thank you. You are the best coach I have ever met in my career." Inzaghi smacked his lips to show that he did not accept Xiao Chenhui's flattery. "Come on, you bastard. You only have me as your head coach so far, and there is no one better than me." When the flattery is exposed, it is particularly embarrassing. Xiao Chenhui quickly hung up the video call, leaving an embarrassed look on this side of the video. How could I let my boss see such an embarrassing moment? Just digest it yourself. At 8 AM, all members of the Dragon team gathered at the training ground of Xuanhu. Then they took a bus to the Magic City Center Stadium. It was one of the home courts of the Dragon team against teams from various countries. At 8:30, the bus arrived at the parking lot of the Magic City Center Stadium. Lippi got off the bus first. Seeing him appear, the fans who had been waiting nearby were instantly excited. Waves of cheers and shouts came one after another. The well-informed Silver Fox was shocked. Is it necessary to be so enthusiastic? The old fox was shocked. But his shock had just begun. When Zheng Zhi got off the bus, the cheers of the fans obviously increased to a higher level. It almost deafened Lipper's ears. The last person to get off the bus was Xiao Chenhui. The moment he appeared, the whole audience was instantly boiling. Countless fans jumped and shouted. They waved their arms excitedly. They have become a group of fanatical believers. And the source of their worship is Xiao Chenhui. Groups of Dhead fans shouted slogans at the top of their lungs. Brother Hui, Brother Hui, Invincible. Brother Hui, Brother Hui, Peerless. The Golden Dragon King has boundless power. Xiao Chenhui is the best in the world. Brothers in Hu, you won't fail. Unique slogans were shouted one after another in an orderly manner. The members of the fan clubs in various places had obviously been rehearsed in advance. They were arranged in order from south to north. The shouts never stopped. It happened that the car of the Pig Association also arrived at the stadium at this time. Hearing the fans' unanimous shouts, Zhenghua's face was uglier than the bottom of a pot. He turned his head with a gloomy face and looked at Zhang Jian beside him. Are you ready? Zhang Jian smiled flatteringly. Don't worry, leader. Everything is under control. Zhenghua nodded. He shouted in a sinister voice, after today, I will make the so-called dragon team disappear into thin air. Zhang Jian nodded and responded, I promise it will be as you wish. Entering the gymnasium from the express passage, Zhenghua had just taken 2 steps. He saw 2 business tycoons coming towards him. Hua were his boss Zheng Fei and Jela's general manager Sister Dang. Zhenghua put away all his unhappiness. He greeted them with a spring breeze smile. I didn't expect that a friendly match would alarm the 2 bosses. Zheng Fei looked at Zhenghua meaningfully. Maintaining a humble and polite smile, he said, such an important thing, as a fan. Of course I have to watch it live. Sister Dang also smiled and said, I'm not a fan. I'm just interested in this game. You know, these 2 people are usually hard to invite. Their status and even the wealth they control are not much worse than Xiao Han of Hantang Group. Zhenghua has completely offended Xiao Han because of Xiao Chenhui's matter. Now he has met these 2 big trees that he can rely on. How could he not hold her tightly? Since you 2 are interested, I will accompany you to watch this warm-up match. Zheng Fei asked with a smile. Warm-up match? I heard it was an internal park match. Zhenghua was about to explain with a smile. The straightforward Sister Dang stopped him directly. Don't bother the headmaster. We have already made an appointment with friends. Friends? Zhenghua was a little shocked. Who has such a big face to be a common friend of these 2? And let them wait outside on their own initiative? The answer was soon revealed. The footsteps behind Zhenghua sounded sonorous and powerful. You have come a long time ago. Haha, it seems that I'm late. Xiao Han smiled heartily. He walked towards Zheng Fei and Sister Dang. As for Zhenghua, who passed by him, just not late, not late. It's just that we are too curious and came a few minutes early. Zheng Fei and Sister Dang responded with a smile. Then they stood on both sides of Xiao Han. They gave the C position to Xiao Han. The 3 of them walked shoulder to shoulder towards the grandstand passage without looking back. Zhenghua and the group of people from the Pig Association were left behind and gradually became messy in the wind. 3 minutes passed. Zhenghua came back to his senses. He looked at the 3 people who were walking away with a resentful look. He said viciously, Zhang Jian, let your people play a role immediately. I will make the damn dragon team fall into ruin. Zhang Jian did not dare to neglect it. He quickly took out his mobile phone and dialed a number. Hello. In the stadium. The players of both sides have lined up to enter the field and started the pre-match adaptive warm-up training. Dawu suddenly walked in front of Zheng Zhi and Xiao Chenhui. He slowly took off the golden dragon blood robe on his body. His 5 fingers loosened and let the golden dragon blood robe fall on the lawn. His face was full of disdainful sarcasm. Team Dragon? I think he will be completely disbanded after today. Zheng Zhi asked gloomily. Dawu. What do you mean? Dawu showed a sinister smile. What do you mean? Don't you understand? How can I join a team like yours that came from a wild background? Just based on you want to represent Dragon Country in international competitions? Don't joke. Brother Zheng, I have already figured out your routines and playing styles. Do you think you still have any chance of winning now? Wu Lei and other young people who were training saw this scene. They were so angry that their faces turned pale. They rushed up and wanted to punch Daewoo's face. Xiao Chenhui suddenly stopped them calmly. Stop. So many people are watching. If you start, don't even think about playing in the game. If we are disqualified from the game, the only one who will be proud is the Pig Association. Why did Daewoo reveal his identity before the game started? It was clearly a provocation. Of course, his conspiracy could not succeed. Zheng Zhi looked at Daewoo in disbelief. We've been brothers for so many years, and you stabbed me in the back. Why? Daewoo's smug look became more and more obvious. To be honest, it's your fault, brother Zheng. You're old but still strong, and you've been occupying the position of captain of the Dragon Country team, and refuse to let go. I can't do anything about it, brother. The deputy leader of the Pig Association said that, as long as we destroy you and the Dragon team, the next captain will be mine. So it was for this. It's really greed. Some people will do anything for the sake of profit, even selling their conscience. What does the little affection between brothers count for? Xiao Chenhui stepped forward. He picked up the golden dragon blood robe that Daewoo had thrown on the ground. He brushed off the loose dust on it. He said coldly, go away, go back to the Pig Association. You don't deserve this golden dragon blood robe. Chapter 181, Twin Dragons. In the stands, Zheng Fei and Sister Dang, with sharp eyes, obviously caught the scene on the field. Zheng Fei smiled and said to Xiao Han, who was sitting in the center position, it seems that the dragon team has encountered some troubles. Xiao Han said confidently and calmly, after all, the young eagle must go through the trials of wind and rain before it can soar into the sky. Have you ever seen a wild wolf with intact ears? Sister Dang smiled and gave Xiao Han a thumbs up. When it comes to educating children, you are more wolf-like. Zheng Fei nodded in agreement. Only he can be so cruel and let the child go out to fight for himself at such a young age. I can't be so cruel. Xiao Han suddenly smiled. Speaking of which, I have to thank you. Without your protection, my little wolf cub would not be able to run so far. Huawei and Jelly signed an endorsement contract with Xiao Chenhui, but later Xiao Chenhui was completely banned by the Pig Association. Naturally, the endorsed advertisement could not be broadcast. However, the two big groups did not recover the endorsement fee from Xiao Chenhui. Xiao Chenhui was able to play football in the Apennines with peace of mind. Although Xiao Han did not say it clearly, who are Zheng Fei and Sister Dang? How could they not hear the meaning of Xiao Han's words? Xiao Han was thanking them on behalf of his son. But compared with the endorsement fee of a few million, they valued Xiao Chenhui's future. Of course, there is also the bright prospect of strategic cooperation with the Hantang group. If one of these two factors is missing, they would not choose to stand on Xiao Chenhui's side. Haha, President Xiao is too polite. Let's watch the game. This Xuanglong who is not to be missed. Zheng Fei smiled and brought the topic back to the court. The term Xuanglong who was not invented by Zheng Fei. It was thought up by the fans with wild imaginations. The duel between the Dragon team and the Dragon Country team will definitely determine a place to represent Dragon Country football. And this place belongs only to the winner. So this double dragon meeting has become a hot topic. It is even more eye-catching than the upcoming Asian Cup. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the game officially began. There were no substitutes for the Dragon team. All 11 members appeared on the field. According to Lipper's pre-match arrangement, they stood in their respective positions. Xiao Chenhui was the starting center forward. Together with Wu Lei and Wei Xiao, they formed a front trident. Wu Lei played as a right winger. Wei Xiao played as a left winger. The midfield was led by veteran Zheng Zhi. With Zhang Ziz, Zhu Xin and Wang Shangyan, Zheng Zhi was the core of the central dispatch. Zhang Ziz stood in front of him as an offensive midfielder. Zhu Xin and Wang Shangyan both stood on both sides behind Zheng Zhi. As two defensive midfielders crossing each other, the three people on the back line were naturally Liu Yiming, Gao Zunai and Yan Zhao. It was a bit of an alternative 3-4-3 formation. Compared with the configuration in the front court, the hidden dangers on the back line were still relatively large. Among the three, only Liu Yiming debuted as a central defender. Gao Zunai and Yan Zhao are not orthodox central defenders. But there is nothing that can be done about it. There are only so many people willing to join the Dragon team. Lippy doesn't know the magic of Dragon Country. He can't conjure up more players like a living person. In front of the last line of defense, there stands the young goalkeeper Yan Junling. After half a season of polishing in Serie B, his temperament seems much more stable than before. But whether he can stop the impact of Dragon Country team, we still have to find the answer in the game. Among the starting 11 of Dragon team, in fact, only 4 or 5 people such as Xiao Chenhui, Zheng Zhi, and Wu Lei are familiar to the fans. Most of the other players are not familiar to the fans. They can't even call out the names of Wang Shangyuan and Wei Shihao. On the other hand, the starting lineup of Dragon Country team is much more famous than that of Dragon team. The starting center is Gao Lin, who plays for Yangcheng Hengda team. The midfield is clearly divided into 2 layers of offense and defense. Those responsible for offense are Hao Junmin, Sun Ke, and Yu Hei. The defensive players are Ke Hu Kang and Da Wu, who defected from the Dragon team before the game. The 4 players on the back line from left to right are Zhang Qingdang, Feng Xiaoting, Mei Fang and Zhang Linpeng. The goalkeeper is the number 1 main goalkeeper Wang Dalai. This lineup is the 4-2-3-1 formation that the new head coach of the Dragon team, Perrin, has been committed to creating. It was with this formation that the Dragon team narrowly passed the last round of the Asian Cup qualifiers and won the last ticket to the main competition. Whether in terms of fame or value, the Dragon team is enough to crush the Dragon team 10 times. Of course, this is without counting Xiao Chenhui, the living beast. If it comes to value, the most authoritative transfer market in the world football has rated Xiao Chenhui as worth 28 million euros. He alone is worth the entire Dragon team. But football is not a one-man sport. It is the joint efforts of 11 people. No matter how strong Xiao Chenhui is, he can't do it alone. Even a strong player like Messi couldn't lead the Argentine team. You know, Argentina is full of stars. It is much stronger than the current Dragon team. So this game was an equal from the beginning. But none of the members of the Dragon team were afraid or retreated. They walked onto the field with high morale. Looking at the young players of the Dragon team, who still had a slightly immature face, Gao Lin, who was standing at the center position of the Dragon team, laughed disdainfully. Just a bunch of kids want to represent Dragon Country football? What kind of international joke is this? Turning his head to look at his teammates behind him, Gao Lin didn't mean to lower his voice deliberately. He shouted loudly, "Brothers, kick them by double digits." He just wanted the Dragon team on the opposite side to hear clearly. Prepare to accept the humiliation of 10:0. Only our Dragon team can represent Dragon Country football. A group of Dragon Country big names laughed. Dawu even stretched out 2 fingers and raised them above his head. He shook his head arrogantly towards the members of the Dragon team. Did you see that? 2 digits. Facing the ridicule of this group of sea cucumber brother, walking king, and dodgeball emperor, the immature young man Wu Lei suddenly asked seriously, "What does it mean to gesture 2? I know you are stupid, so there is no need to emphasize it, right? If you are stupid, go see a doctor. What are you doing here?" Dawu was broken in a second. He immediately pulled down a big donkey face. It was so ugly. Is that 2? That means 2 digits. How can I not understand what you are talking about? You are the real stupid. All of you in the Dragon team are stupid. The referee quickly stood up. He gave a verbal warning to Dawu and Wu Lei respectively. The rhythm of the game was back on track. This game was of great importance. The higher-ups specifically told him to judge impartially, not to be biased towards any party. How dare he ignore the words above? Beep. The whistle sounded. The warm-up match that Zhenhui mentioned, the life and death battle in the hearts of the fans, has begun. Chapter 182. Big deficit in the first half. The whistle for the game started. The Dragon Country team immediately launched a fierce attack. Standing on the sidelines, head coach Perrin held the small note that Dawu had given him last night. He directed the Dragon Country team to continuously attack the right rib of the Dragon team. According to the information obtained by Dawu, the Dragon team's back line is the weakest link among the 3 lines. Moreover, Xiao Chenhui and Yan Zihao are not professionally trained central defenders. They are used to playing right backs and are somewhat uncomfortable in the central defender position. In this case, they should be regarded as the key breakthrough targets and attack them again and again. Sure enough, in the 10th minute of the game, the Dragon team's right side was penetrated. Xiao Chenhui, who was deliberately placed on the right side by Perrin, showed his style as the top-side attacker in the Dragon Country Super League. After receiving the pass from Yu Hei, he used continuous feints to shake off Xiao Chenhui, who was in the opposite position. Then, before Liu Yiming arrived to make up for the position, he made a light lob pass and used his toes to lift the football to the edge of the Dragon team's penalty area. Center forward Xiao Lin headed the ball with his back to the goal. He took off Xiao Chenhui's lob pass and passed it to a position 3 meters inside the penalty area. Sun Ke, who came from the other side, volleyed the ball. Although Yan Zhenling had made a desperate save, he still failed to block Sun Ke's shot. He watched helplessly as the ball flew into the goal. After scoring this goal, many players of the Dragon Country team became more arrogant, especially center forward Xiao Lin and Dawu, who was the captain for the first time. They jumped up excitedly and celebrated by bumping their chests. Then they roared in unison, double digits. This scene, Zheng Fei in the stands couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. Alas, we are from the same roots. Why are we so anxious to hurt each other? Sister Dang expressed her opinion with some sadness. Perhaps, some people have long forgotten which vine they grew from. The Dragon team and the Dragon Country team are both Dragon Country people. But look at the arrogant attitude of the Dragon Country team. Do they regard the members of the Dragon team as compatriots? Of course, there are winners and losers in a game. It is natural to celebrate when you score a goal. But it is a bit unreasonable to be so arrogant when playing against your compatriots. If you really have the power of the wild, you sit in the Asian Cup qualifiers, break out in the World Cup qualifiers. What kind of skill is it to use it on young players who are 1 round younger than you? It's double digits. How dare you talk like that? Do you know how to write the word shame? Compared with the lamentations of Zheng Fei and Sister Dang, Xiao Han seemed very calm. Some branches and vines that grow crooked will not last long. Sooner or later, they will be removed. He didn't know what others thought, but he always had a firm trust in his son. He knew that the boy would not give in. The provocation of the opponent would only make him stronger. The more he honed, the sharper he became. The game on the field continued. After the Dragon Country team scored the first goal, they quickly made a comeback. In the 15th minute, it was Xiao Chenhui who broke through the wing again. He knocked the ball to the middle. Dawu received the ball and made a straight pass to the other wing. The young defense of the Dragon team was broken. Yu Hei, the fast horse on the wing, ran all the way. He controlled Dawu's straight pass near the baseline. Then he passed it to Sun Ke, who was in the back row. Sun Ke did not choose to shoot violently this time. Instead, he made a light touch and passed the ball to Xiao Lin in the penalty area. Facing the young goalkeeper Yan Zhenling, who was nicknamed Xiao Linsman by the fans, he did not waste the opportunity. He pushed the ball into the far corner and scored 2-0. In the 23rd minute, it was Xiao Chenhui again. He planned 2 attacks in succession, and this time he directly sent an assist. He passed the ball to the gap between Liu Yiming and Xiao Chenhui of the Dragon team. Xiao Linsman rushed over aggressively. He raised his foot and shot 3-0. The Dragon Country team, which is playing well, can win no matter how it plays. On the contrary, the young Dragon team has exposed too many problems. The overall lineup is young, the combat experience is insufficient, the tacit understanding between each other is not enough, and so on. After all, they have only been a team for a short time. Even if the 34-year-old Zheng Zhi is included, the average age is only 21 years old. Perhaps their future is infinitely bright. But now, it is still a bit difficult for them to compete with the Dragon Return team. You must know that the members of the Dragon Country team are all the main players of various domestic clubs, and they are all in their prime years. Although they have been defeated repeatedly in international competitions, they can still deal with the kids of the Dragon team. Seeing the Dragon Country team scoring 3 goals with great momentum, Zheng Hui's gloomy face always turned slightly cloudy. Zhang Jian on the side saw his face change. He quickly came up to him flatteringly. I got the tactics and player characteristics of the Dragon team last night. Perrin developed a set of targeted tactics based on their playing style. The Dragon team is destined to lose by a large margin in this game. Zhenghui's eyes fell on Dawu in the arena. He nodded slightly. Well, not bad. He is a promising talent. He will be the captain of the Dragon team in the future. Talent is not important at all in Zhenghui's eyes. What he wants is a group of players who obey orders and accept commands. Those who play alternative styles are not wanted. At the end of the first half, the Dragon team led the Dragon team 4:0. Those big names who like the sea cucumber walked off the court one by one with a proud look. They walked towards the temporary locker room with an arrogant look. Only Xiao Chenhui looked at the members of the Dragon team with a complicated look, as if he wanted to say something. But in the end, he just sighed secretly and left the court without saying a word. He once went to Europe to make a living. He played for Schalke 04 in the Bundesliga for one season. He made 21 appearances and scored 1 goal. He knew the difficulties faced by Dragon country players in European clubs. So he was very familiar with what the young players of Dragon team wanted to pursue. He did not want to destroy the most beautiful dreams of these young players by bullying them. But you have no choice. The Pig Association gave the Dragon country team a death order. They must crush the Dragon team in the Double Dragon Club. They even let Dawu be a shameful spy. They took advantage of the trust of the old captain Zheng Zhi to steal the tactical intelligence of the Dragon team. All these made Xiao Chenhui feel disgusted. But what could he say? At his age, if he was banged by the Pig Association, he would have nothing. He could not afford the consequences. He could only say sorry to the young men of Dragon team in his heart. In the locker room of the Dragon country team, Gaolin and Dawu led the cheering. They kept shouting double digits. It seemed that victory was already on their plate. The Dragon country team, who had always been defeated by everyone, finally had a chance to crush their opponent. Of course they had to celebrate. In the Dragon team's locker room, listening to the cheers coming from next door, Lipper's face showed a hint of coldness. They have been fooled, and they will definitely let down their guard in the second half. Now, it's our turn to control the game. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183 GD Counterattack. Silver Fox Lippy has been in the arena for many years. Is he just a name for nothing? Zheng Zhi has been standing in the Dragon country football world for more than 10 years. Is he so easy to fool? The most important thing is that living beast who combines treachery and cunningness. Can he be fooled by others? From the moment Dawu called Zheng Zhi, Xiao Chenhui had begun to doubt him. He is different from Zheng Zhi. What reason does he have to leave the Pig Association when he is in his prime? He is also different from Wu Lei and other brothers who registered in Europe. After completing the registration of professional players in Dragon country, does he really have the courage to fight against the Pig Association? The seemingly reasonable surrender actually has various unreasonable reasons. So, the intelligence information that Dawu got was what Xiao Chenhui deliberately wanted him to get. It was not the real tactical arrangement of the Dragon team. The Dragon team is still young. If they want to overthrow the Dragon country team, they must take an unconventional approach. The appearance of Dawu gave Xiao Chenhui the opportunity to show his sword. Of course, if Dawu hadn't shown up, Xiao Chenhui and his team would have had to rely on their strength to fight the Dragon country team. However, due to the darkness of human hearts and the struggle for power, Dawu still showed up. As the saying goes, a proud army will be defeated. With false intelligence and a big lead in the first half, the Dragon country team would definitely think that they had a sure win and everything was under control. Slackness would inevitably grow in their hearts. At this time, it was time for the Dragon team to fight back. Indeed, the young players of the Dragon team lack sufficient experience. Their skills had not yet reached their peak. Moreover, due to the short time of team formation, the tacit understanding between them needed to be improved. However, they had what the Dragon Country team lacked the most, the determination to win. When the Dragon team stepped onto the court again, their temperament had changed dramatically. Outsiders had no way of knowing that the first half of the game was just a test by Lippy to test the team. The real game was about to begin. Seeing the members of the Dragon team walk into the court with their heads held high, nearly 20,000 fans stood up from their seats. They sang loudly to cheer for the Dragon team. I love you walking alone in the dark alley. I love you for not kneeling. I love you for confronting despair and refusing to cry. I love your tattered clothes, but you dare to block the gun of fate. I love you for being so similar to me, with the same gaps. I love you for coming from the wilderness. You will never borrow anyone's light in your life. You will build your city-state on the ruins. Go, go. This ragged cloak. Fight, fight. With the most humble dream. To the sobbing and roaring in the dark night. Who said that only those who stand in the light are heroes? Exclamation mark. What if they are behind 4:0? The packed audience seats were full of songs supporting the Dragon team. No one chose to support the Dragon national team under the rule of the Pig Association. The Pig Association and the Dragon national team used one stupid move after another, and one weak performance after another. They hurt the hearts of the Dragon national fans again and again. Why support them? Are they worthy of the fans' expectations and taxes? Amid the singing of 20,000 players at the scene, Xiao Chenhui slowly turned to face the Dragon team members behind him. He shouted with all his strength, fight. The other members of the Dragon team also responded with roars and shouts, fight. Yang Chen, Zhui and other team staff standing on the sidelines. They stood in a row. They shouted at the top of their lungs, fight. 3 consecutive roars were like a spark that ignited an explosive depot. The fans in the stadium were even more excited. It also made the young players of the Dragon team excited. On the Dragon Country team side, Dabu curled his lips in disdain. This is a stadium, not a troupe. These guys are really dramatic. Gaolin, standing in the center position, laughed sarcastically. Don't think that shouting slogans loudly can make up for the gap in strength. Dream on. With a 4-goal lead, their mentality has begun to change. Beep. The whistle sounded. The second half of the game began. The Dragon team kicked off first. The moment the whistle just fell, Xiao Chenhui, wearing a golden dragon blood robe, rushed out like lightning. Like the golden dragon king who was tumbling for 9 days, he was unstoppable. Gaolin didn't even have time to see what happened before he was left behind by Xiao Chenhui. On the midfield line, Wu Lei passed the ball back to Zhangzes. Then he and Wei Xiao cut diagonally to the sidelines on the left and right. They formed an equilateral triangle with Xiao Chenhui who was sprinting in front. Xiao Chenhui was the vertex of the triangle. Wu Lei and Wei Xiao were the 2 bottom corners. What kind of tactics is this? Dawu and other players of the Dragon Country team were surprised to find that there seemed to be no such tactics in the intelligence they had received in advance. Could it be that the Dragon team had another trick up their sleeve? Facts have proved that the Dragon team didn't hide one trick. Instead, they had several tricks. Zheng Zhi, who was running through the midfield, suddenly started to move forward and came to the horizontal line side by side with Zhangzes. They formed a double attacking midfielder combination, but their position was different from the traditional attacking midfielder position. They were not standing in the middle of the midfield, but slightly to the side. To be precise, they were not a double attacking midfielder, but a pair of wing attacking midfielders. Zheng Zhi's running position set off a wave of changes in the Dragon team's formation. Zhu Xin and Wang Shangyuan swung their legs and moved closer to the middle. Behind the wing attacking midfielder combination of Zheng Zhi and Zhangzes, they shrank into a midfield iron gate. Yan Zihao on the back line returned to the right side at the same time and boldly advanced on the side. The central defender combination of Liu Yiming and Gao Zunai formed a parallel defensive line on the penalty area line, just behind the midfield iron gate of Zhu Xin and Wang Shangyuan. If there was a drone flying in the sky at this time, it would be possible to clearly record the changes in the Dragon team's formation. It was 2 huge English letters superimposed one above the other. W and M. The changes of the Dragon team were surprisingly the brutal WM formation. Arsenal in the Premier League in the last century relied on this formation to win the league championship 5 times in 8 years. This formation has only one characteristic: endless attack. Longguo team coach Perrin on the sidelines was dumbfounded. What era is this? Lippi actually uses this ancient formation? What does he want to do? Do you really think that, if you put all the young guys of the Dragon team into the attack, you can tear the back line of the Dragon team? Do you think too highly of them? Lippi happened to turn his head and look at Perrin at this moment. Lippi, with a full head of white hair, smiled and said only one word with silent mouth shape: Xiao. Using young players to attack the back line of the Dragon team is indeed no different from suicide. Once they fail to break through the barriers of the Dragon team, they will be turned around and pressed to the ground by the Dragon team. But you, Perrin, don't forget. The striker of the Dragon team is Xiao Chenhui, the magical boy who just won the European Golden Boy Award. Are you sure your Dragon team can stop the fierce attack of that live animal? Perrin suddenly turned around and looked at the stadium with a look of doubt and confusion. Then he saw an incredible scene. Chapter 184: The style of the European Golden Boy Award. Xiao Chenhui, who started early, was like a wild horse that had broken free from its reins. In the blink of an eye, he rushed to the back line of the Longguo team. In the first half of the game, the back line of the Longguo team was not so forward, but at the beginning of the second half, the back line of the Longguo team, which was leading by 4 goals, was obviously a little floating. The position was 10 meters ahead, and the gap between the 4 people was so big that it could almost put an airplane. Xiao Chenhui chose the widest gap between the 4 people. He rushed over. Just as he launched an attack on the back line of the Longguo team, Zhang Zi suddenly knocked the ball sideways. It was passed to Zhang Zhi's feet. Zhang Zhi did not hesitate and pushed hard to meet the ball. The football whistled forward and rolled quickly along the lawn. A precise 30-meter straight pass sent the football to Xiao Chenhui's sprint route. Gao Lin, Dawu and other big names in the Longguo team, who were standing near Zhang Zhi's passing route, actually watched the football roll forward. He made a fierce defense with his eyes, but his feet didn't move at all. The football came to Xiao Chenhui easily. The midfield barrier of the Longguo team was instantly penetrated. It was useless. Ding, the bronze light flashed in the system skill bar. The S-level skill offside was quietly activated. Xiao Chenhui stretched out his foot to lead the rolling football. He rushed to the penalty area of the Longguo team with the ball. The 4-man defense line of the Longguo team was instantly left behind by him. Zhang Chengdang, Feng Xiaoting, Mei Fang and Zhang Linpeng woke up from their dreams. They quickly accelerated and chased after Xiao Chenhui's back. However, with their physical fitness of eating sea cucumbers and living a pampered life for many years, how could they catch up with Xiao Chenhui in speed? The speed of 10.23 seconds for 100 meters is Xiao Chenhui's signature. The space in front of the penalty area was quickly flattened by Xiao Chenhui. Then he plunged into the penalty area. He went straight to goalkeeper Wang Dalai. The 4 big names chasing behind him were only worthy of watching his back and eating dirt. During the whole process, every step Xiao Chenhui took forward would trigger a scream from the 20,000 fans in the stands. The young man who carried the last ray of hope for all the fans in the country. Sprint as hard as you can. As for Wang Dalai, the screams of the fans were so harsh. Xiao Chenhui's footsteps made him so flustered. In fact, Wang Dalai was also a talented player among the Dragon Country players. He went to Inter Milan for a trial when he was a teenager. But perhaps like those geniuses in the past, the halo of glory on his head made him increasingly arrogant. Instead of becoming a driving force for progress, it dragged down his pace forward. To this day, Wang Dalai has never fulfilled his talent. He can only be regarded as a goalkeeper with good strength among the Dragon Country players. If King Dong's talent was ruined by flattery, and Deng Zhuoxiang's talent was ruined by injuries, then Wang Dalai's talent was ruined by his own laziness and arrogance. When he was trying out for Inter Milan, Figo, Adriano, goalkeeper Cesar and others who were playing for Inter Milan at the time had given Wang Dalai advice and suggestions. Unfortunately, Wang Dalai did not listen to these words. Instead, he said that the players of Inter Milan are actually very average in terms of skills. You know, Figo is the right wing master who has won the European Golden Ball Award. He has proved his strength in Barcelona, Real Madrid and Inter Milan. At that time, Adriano was in his prime. He was regarded as the king of Mesa by Inter Milan fans. Cesar is the first main goalkeeper of Samba. Juan Dalari, who was just starting out and had no achievements, dared to say that their skills are actually very average. How arrogant is this? Even if his talent is outstanding, how can God favor him? The arrogance and ignorance of youth will always pay the price one day in the future. Now is the time for Juan Dalari to pay for his frivolous years. Xiao Chenhui took the ball and rushed into the penalty area with a few big strides. It was like a furious King Kong descending in front of Juan Dalari. The bronze luster in the system skill bar instantly switched to gold. The inheritance from the alien Ronaldo star card. Pendulum passing. A shake. A buckle. Xiao Chenhui's body was like a pointer shaped like a javelin. Pointing east and hitting west. After a feint. A sword to the throat. Juan Dalari fell tragically on the lawn. He couldn't even touch Xiao Chenhui's boots. After knocking Juan Dalari down, Xiao Chenhui took the ball forward a few steps. When there was only half a meter left to the goal line, he stretched out his foot and poked it lightly. The football turned into a cheerful elf. It jumped across the goal line. Only 1 minute in the second half. The Dragon team scored a goal. Perrin on the sidelines was stunned for a full half minute. Finally, he shook his head helplessly, accepted the reality in front of him. This is the style of the European Golden Boy Award. Among the players of Dragon Country, he was so different and stood out from the crowd. The song of the lone warrior in the stands became louder. The fans cheered and celebrated for the Dragon team and Xiao Chenhui's goal. This is what Dragon Country football should look like. Even if you are in a desperate situation, you still fight to the end. Even if you know you can't win, you still dare to show your sword. Let the walking king and the dodging emperor go to hell. The cheers of the fans made Xianghua's face look ugly. It also made the big names of the Dragon Country team on the field look resentful. Didn't you just score a goal? What's there to be arrogant about? The goal remains unchanged. Double digits. The big names of the Dragon Country team, who kicked off again, planned to take advantage of the opportunity of kicking off to launch a fierce attack. Directly crush the young Dragon team to the point where they lost resistance. However, in the 49th minute of the game, the Dragon Country team had just pushed the offensive to the backcourt of the Dragon team. Wang Shangyuan bravely approached Dabu, who was rushing with the ball. He made a fierce sliding tackle without mercy. Dabu jumped up in a hurry and fear. He avoided Wang Shangyuan's frontal sliding tackle and lost control of the ball. In Dabu's view, this was an insignificant internal part match. Moreover, the Dragon Country team was leading by 3 goals. There was really no need to fight to the death with the Dragon team. What if he got injured in the fight? He had just taken the throne of the captain of the Dragon Country team. He hadn't had time to show off his prestige, so how could he get injured? The laxity and lack of fighting spirit of the Dragon Country team were infinitely magnified in the tenacious struggle of the Dragon team. After completing the tackle, Wang Shangyuan quickly climbed up from the lawn. A long pass initiated the attack. Zhangzis, who was in the front midfielder position, stopped the ball beautifully with his chest and controlled the ball in front of him. He stretched out his thigh and swept it in the air. The football was swept to the left side. Wei Xiao frantically wiped Yu Hei's frontal defense, carrying all kinds of small movements behind him. He dragged Yu Hei forward for several meters. Yu Hei couldn't keep up with Wei Xiao's speed and was dragged to the ground. He reluctantly let go of the claws that were pulling Wei Xiao's golden dragon blood robe. Without being restrained, Wei Xiao struggled forward and rushed forward more than 10 meters with the ball. A long diagonal pass lifted the ball into the penalty area of the Longguo team. Xiao Chenhui and Wu Lei both hit the door. In the end, Xiao Chenhui's beautiful lion head shake broke through the goal guarded by Wang Dalari again. The advantage of the Longguo team was only 2 goals. Double digits? Purely a fool's dream. Chapter 185 The Hope of Dragon Country Football. In the 53rd minute of the game, when the Dragon Country team was holding the ball and attacking, the Dragon team launched a fierce counter-attack in the midfield and backcourt. The cross-defense of the defensive midfielder combination Wang Shangyuan and Zuzin blocked Gaolin, who was dribbling the ball, from the goal. Zuzin stretched out his foot first and swept the ball to the side. Right back Yan Zhao boldly stepped forward to respond. After controlling the ball, he did not rashly launch a long pass. Instead, he looked up and observed the situation on the field. Then he chose to rush forward with the ball along the side. Zhu Xin, who had previously destroyed the Dragon Country team's offensive, quickly retreated. He retreated to the backline and formed a temporary back three with Liu Yiming and Gao Zunai. He filled the gap left by Yan Zhao's assist. The position change between Zhu Xin and Yan Zhao made the Dragon Country team's big names a little confused. Something is wrong. In the information provided by Dawu, there seems to be no such change of displacement. Dawu, who wore the captain's armband of the Dragon Country team for the first time, was even more confused. What happened? Could it be that Lippi arranged a new tactic after he left Shuanghu last night? How is this possible? Dawu thought that his acting skills were fine. It was impossible for those young guys in the Dragon team to see through his undercover identity, unless, from the beginning, the Dragon team never believed him. The tactics explained in front of him were all deliberately said to him. When he thought of this possibility, Dawu was very flustered. If this was really the case, his undercover work would be a complete failure. How could the Pig Association let him go easily? Not to mention the position of captain. It's hard to say whether he can continue to stay in the Dragon Country team in the future. He didn't eat the mutton, but he was covered in mutton. I'm talking about him. Look at this. While everyone in the Dragon Country team was wondering because of the wrong information, Yan Zhao on the side took the opportunity to stir up trouble. With the courage of a newborn calf, he devoured Kehu Kang, who came to defend on the wing. Then he passed the ball diagonally to his elder brother Zheng Zhi. Zheng Zhi actually had not played the position of wing midfielder, but in his career for so many years, he played from the front line to the midfield, from the midfield to the back line. Almost except for the goalkeeper, he has played more positions than the starting lineup of the Dragon team. He can play his due strength in every position. He has become the most stable point of the Dragon team in the past. This shows that his ability to adapt to the position is very strong. Although the cooperation between him and the new teammates of the Dragon team is not tacit enough, this does not hinder his performance. Before, he had predicted Yan Zhao's passing route in advance with his rich experience and excellent positional sense. He got to the receiving point one step ahead of the Emperor of dodging the ball Dawu. After getting the ball, Zheng Zhi leaned on Dawu, who came a step later, with his back blocking him behind him. No matter how hard he stretched out his feet, he could not reach the football between Zheng Zhi's body. From this detail, we can see where Zheng Zhi is stronger than Dawu. The use of body space, the reasonable allocation of physical energy, etc. If Dawu wants to truly become the captain of the Dragon Country team, he still has a lot to learn from Zheng Zhi. It's a pity that Dawu chose the shortcut of quick success and instant benefits. In the end, he lost a smooth road. The fight between the two people on the field is actually a microcosm of their careers. One step away, Dawu can't catch up with Zheng Zhi in front of him in his entire life. When Zheng Zhi and Dawu were entangled, the three arrows of the Dragon team's front court were fired at the same time. Xiao Chenhui, Wu Lei, and Wei Xiao aimed at the three gaps between the four people on the back line of the Dragon Country team and stabbed through. In an instant, the back line of the Dragon Country team was cut into pieces. Facing the fierce attack of the three of them, the four people on the back line of the Dragon Country team were completely panicked. Who should I defend? One-on-one single defense? They don't have this confidence. Two-on-one defense? There are not enough people. I want to ask the teammates in the midfield to withdraw to help. But look at their leisurely little eyes. They have already supported with their eyes. What the hell can we do? The four people in the panic simply disbanded on the spot. They started to fight on their own. Zhang Chengdan ran towards Wu Lei. Zhang Linpeng ran towards Wei Xiao on the opposite side. Feng Xiaoting and Mei Fang rushed towards Xiao Chenhui one after another. After all, Xiao Chenhui's threat is much greater than Wu Lei and Wei Xiao on the side. It is better for two people to defend him together. One person. I'm afraid that he can't defend. At this moment, when the four-man rear group fell apart, Zheng Zhi suddenly made the next move. He slightly opened his arms to block Dawo's space to go around and grab the ball. Then he pushed back with his back, forcing Dawo, who was almost sticking to his back, to take a step back. After striving for the conditions for exerting force, Zheng Zhi swung his calf and hit the football hard. The football drew a straight line along the lawn. It came to the direction of the right road. It should be said, as an iconic figure in the current Dragon Country football, Zheng Zhi's kick was just right. It fully demonstrated his overall view and excellent footwork. It just allowed Wu Lei to control the football steadily without slowing down. It also made Zhang Qingdang, who was rushing towards Wu Lei, just 2 steps away, and unable to complete the steal in the first time. Not only was the angle, strength and line of the pass perfectly controlled, Zheng Zhi's pass also demonstrated his football IQ, which was higher than that of most Dragon Country players. He knew that Feng Xiaoting and Mei Fang were the ones who dealt with Xiao Chenhui. Although these two people were also suspected of being walking emperors, they still had defensive skills. Xiao Chenhui was 1 against 2, and he might be restricted by the 2 of them. On the other side, Wei Xiao was facing Zhang Linpeng, whose personal ability was even better than Feng Xiaoting and Mei Fang. Fans gave Zhang Linpeng the nickname Zhang Ramos. Although it was a joke, it can be seen that Zhang Linpeng's style is somewhat similar to Ramos. Tough style of play, fierce fighting. At least at the age of 25, Zhang Linpeng has not degenerated into the eye-killing hero. He still has a fierce fighting spirit. It is estimated that it will be difficult for the fledgling Wei Xiao to break through him. But the situation on Wu Lei's side is different. Wu Lei's opponent Zhang Qingdang was originally a midfielder and was later transformed into a fullback. Compared with Zhang Linpeng's solid basic skills, Zhang Qingdang is undoubtedly inferior. Before Wu Lei went to Europe, he played in the Dragon Country Super League for 2 seasons. Before that, he also honed his skills in the second-level Lei League for several years. It can be said that except for Zheng Zhi, Wu Lei is the most experienced young player in the Dragon team. Even in this regard, Xiao Chenhui can't compare with him. Facing an opponent like Zhang Qingdang, Wu Lei's one-on-one breakthrough success rate is very high. Sure enough, after receiving the pass, Wu Lei used her skilled bicycle kicks to shake off Zhang Qingdang's face-to-face defense. The fans in the stands burst into applause. Starting from the second half of the game, Zhang's precise pass, Yan Zihao's bold assist, Wang Shangyuan's decisive tackle, Zhu Xin's timely defense. The young guys of the Dragon team made the fans feel what surprises again and again. In addition, the old but strong Zheng Zhi was in the middle, and the beautiful trident combination in the front field brought the fans the highest level of enjoyment. Isn't this the Dragon Country football that fans want to see? Chapter 186 Don't care about your responsibility. Wu Lei dribbled past the defense and entered the penalty area. He ran into Wang Dalai. Before Wu Lei went to Europe to play football, he played for Shenzhen SIPG in the Dragon Country Super League. Wang Dalai played for Shenzhen Shenhua. Although they were not in the same club, they were in the same city after all. He was always more familiar with Wang Dalai than players from other clubs. For example, Wu Lei knew that Wang Dalai was on trial at Inter Milan. Inter Milan's goalkeeper Cesar once pointed out an obvious flaw in Wang Dalai. There were certain hidden dangers in his position. He always habitually stood to the left. In other words, when Wang Dalai stood on the goal line, he would always subconsciously lean a little towards the left goalpost. That is, the near angle of Wu Lei's breakthrough direction. Wu Lei is a right winger. This time he dribbled into the penalty area from the right. Most of the Dragon Country's wingers are not good at using their left foot. They cannot complete the inward shot after breaking through the wing. Basically, they just use their dominant foot to kick the near corner or pass the ball sideways. Therefore, when facing a winger alone, the goalkeeper of Longguo will generally choose to block the angle of the near corner. What's more, Wang Dalai, who habitually leans to the left, Wu Lei's brain was working at high speed. He decided to lock the angle of the shot at the far corner, where Wang Dalai was not good at saving. Only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you win every battle. Wu Lei was very clear about Wang Dalai's habitual choice. But Wang Dalai didn't know Wu Lei, who had been training in Europe for half a year. Maybe in the past, Wu Lei would definitely be like most of the wingers of Longguo. He would raise his right foot and swing the ball. But Wu Lei, who has made obvious progress in the past 6 months, has learned to play football with his brain. 2 small steps as a preparatory confusion. After attracting Wang Dalai to the direction of the near corner, Wu Lei's right foot suddenly buckled on the football. He adjusted the football to more than half a meter to the left of his body. As soon as he saw his action, Wang Dalai knew that it was bad. After hanging around in the Longguo Super League for a long time, Wang Dalai almost forgot what it meant for a winger to cut inside. Suddenly he saw Wu Lei making preparations for cutting inside. He realized that Wu Lei was no longer the Wu Lei of half a year ago. Unfortunately, it was difficult to change directional thinking. Wang Dalai had already completed half of the save. It was too late to change direction. In his desperate eyes, Wu Lei successfully completed the cut in action. He raised his left foot and circled the bottom of the football. A beautiful rainbow appeared. The football drew a clear arc in the air and circled and fell into the far corner of the goal 3:4. The Dragon team recovered another goal. The advantage of the Dragon Country team was reduced to the smallest gap. The fans in the stands burst into deafening cheers. This goal was scored beautifully. It was a typical winger's cut-in shot. In the domestic arena of Dragon Country, this kind of shooting method is rare. Even if it can be seen occasionally, it is from the personal performance of big-name foreign players. It is basically isolated from local players. Wu Lei can make such a move calmly. This shows that he has achieved considerable growth in European clubs. It seems that sending players to Europe for training is indeed the only way to promote the development of Dragon Country football. The pig brains of the Pig Association are ridiculous. They think that changing the name of the league to the Super League, letting the players eat more sea cucumbers, and the show-off stay in Portugal plan, can make Dragon Country football soar. Can it improve the level of Dragon Country football? Let's first work hard and arrange for players to play for European clubs. Don't ask the Pig Association to take the initiative to arrange anything. Can we not make things worse? I heard that Apeo Gengeo Hangbo in the early years were forcibly stopped by the Pig Association from going to Europe. I heard that Wu Lei and Zhangzis went to Europe to play football. Did the Pig Association make many secret trips? What about the Lion's Mouth asking for training fees? That's the moral character. How good can Dragon Country football be? Sooner or later, it will be tortured to death by these pig brains. Again, the same sentence, disband quickly. There is not much time left for you. On the court, Wu Lei rushed to Xiao Chenhui excitedly. After scoring the goal, he picked him up by the waist and roared loudly, "Brother Hui, I did it. I really did it." Before the second half of the game started, Xiao Chenhui told him to try to cut in more often and not to pass the ball to Xiao Chenhui as soon as he got the ball. Football is a sport for 11 people, not a one-on-one boxing match in the ring. It was because of Xiao Chenhui's encouragement that Wu Lei dared to make bold moves in the game. So he was willing to share the joy of scoring with Xiao Chenhui. 5 seconds of excitement were left for Wu Lei. Xiao Chenhui reached out and patted Wu Lei on the shoulder in the 6th second. "Put me down quickly. The game is not over yet." Indeed, the game is not over yet. 3:4 behind. Or a tie. Neither is the result that the Dragon team wants. They have only one goal, win. 7 minutes after the game resumed, Xiao Chenhui once again pierced the entire back line of the Dragon team with a classic offside. He rushed into the penalty area at an amazing speed of 100 meters. He used a dazzling bicycle kick fake to dodge Wang Dao's attack. Then he used his heel to knock the ball to the front of the empty goal. At the end of the inverted triangle pass, the fast winger Wei Xiao rushed over and gently pushed the ball with his instep. The ball rolled into the empty goal. In less than half an hour, the Dragon team scored 4 goals in a row. The Trident showed its power collectively. 4 bloody holes were stabbed in the face of the Dragon national team. Double digits? Who said that? Come on. Come on. Stand up and say it again. Gaolin and Abwood quietly hid in the corner. Covering his face, he said, "I didn't say that. It's not me who said that. It's not just them who have facial pain. There is also the head coach Perrin on the sidelines, using a group of professional players in their prime to bully a group of young guys, and sending undercover in advance to steal the opponent's tactics. In the end, they were tied. Isn't it embarrassing? Perrin felt that he was not worthy of the salary offered by the pig association. In order not to lose face anymore, he had to shamelessly do something very shameless. Substitution. The Dragon team had only 11 members in total. Just enough to form a starting lineup. There was no substitute. But Perrin applied for a substitution at this time. What was the difference from a round robin match? But knowing this was the case, what else could Perrin do? If he didn't make a substitution, not only would he lose his position as head coach, but he would also be nailed to the pillar of shame. So, Perrin shamelessly substituted 2 new players at once. Yuhan Chao replaced Yu Hei. Yang Zhu replaced Gao Lin. Both of them were offensive players. It was clear that they were going to attack the Dragon team's defense line in the last 20 minutes before the end of the game with their abundant physical strength. The fans at the scene were collectively angry. Knowing that the Dragon team had no substitutes available, they still wanted to make substitutions. This was really shameless. Huge boos echoed in the stadium. Various dialects emerged, greeting the ancestors of ZHUZ and Perrin. Chapter 187. Working together to overcome difficulties. Perrin was shameless, because he had to do so. After all, he was paid by the Pig Association, so he naturally had to do everything he could to serve the Pig Association. But some people in the Dragon national team were truly shameless. Dawu, who was serving as the captain for the first time, took advantage of the suspension time for substitutions, and whispered to several Dragon national players around him, in the last 20 minutes, "Don't be afraid of fouls. It would be best if we could injure 1 or 2 of them, so that we have a chance to defeat them." Heo Junmin looked at the boys of the Dragon team with reluctance. Then he said to Dawu, "Forget it. It's just that we are not as skilled as others. Why do we have to commit malicious fouls?" Dawu asked relentlessly. "Not as skilled as others? If they hadn't deliberately given us false information, would we have been so passive? They were the ones who were plotting first. Since they are unkind, don't blame us for being unjust." Heo Junmin wanted to ask, "Why don't you say that you were plotting something bad and became an undercover? If you weren't an undercover, where would the false information come from?" But when the words came to his lips, Heo Junmin still held back. He was not young anymore. He would not be in his prime for many years. If he openly offended Dawu at this moment, it would be equivalent to completely breaking up with the Pig Association. It would be difficult for him to represent Longguo in international competitions in the future. He also wanted to play a few good games for Longguo fans at the end of his peak. Although he did not agree with Dawu's vicious approach, he did not say anything more in the end. The substitution was completed. The game continued. Under Dawu's vicious strategy, most of the Longguo team members shifted their minds from the game to the boys of the Dragon team. All kinds of pulling movements, all kinds of flying tackles on the edge of fouls, all kinds of arrogant pushing. They did everything they could. In just 10 minutes, the referee blew the whistle to suspend the game 6 times. All of them were fouls by the Longguo team. Especially the last foul. Yan Zhao of the Dragon team assisted on the sideline. As soon as he crossed the center line with the ball, Dawu of the Dragon country team showed his special move of ground punch. With a flying tackle showing the sole of the shoe, Yan Zhao was shoveled out of the sideline with the ball. Dawu thought very clearly. Even if he was sent off by the referee because of this malicious injury, as long as he caused the Dragon team to retire with injuries, he would be the hero who helped the Dragon country team to keep the tie. The people from the Pig Association will definitely praise him greatly after the game. Then his weight on the Pig Association will increase a few points. The position of the captain of the Dragon country team is set in stone. After all, the two sides of this game had a prior agreement. Whoever wins will be qualified to represent the Dragon country in the international arena. As long as they don't lose, Dawu will do anything worthwhile. He even used the method of killing 1,000 enemies and injuring 800 of his own. As for Yan Zhao, who fell to the ground in pain, just think he was unlucky. Who made him rebel with Xiao Chenhui? Serves you right. Under Dawu's cold and cruel gaze, Yan Zhao, who fell outside the court, could not stand up for a long time. One side of the shin guard began to ooze out bright red blood. "What are you doing? Are you kicking the ball or kicking someone?" Xiao Chenhui ran over and scolded Dawu loudly. but Dabu shrugged his shoulders, as if nothing had happened. An innocent expression appeared on his face. He was clearly saying, he can't take a beating, so blame me. Dabu is now fearless. If you have the guts, try to touch me. As long as you make a move, you will definitely have to get the ruby card and leave. By then, you will lose more than one Yan Zhao. Can you afford this consequence? Xiao Chenhui really wanted to use a set of Wing Chun to send Dabu back to the city for free, but he also knew that the Dragon team had no substitutes at all. If he got impulsive, he would ruin the situation that the Dragon team had worked so hard to achieve. Then everything would be ruined. Xiao Chenhui took a deep breath. He suppressed his anger and stretched out his arms to stop Wu Lei and the others who rushed over. He did not allow a fight to happen on the field. Then he forced himself not to look at Dabu's ugly face. Xiao Chenhui squatted down to observe Yan Zhao's injury. He found that Yan Zhao was seriously injured. He waved to the sidelines and signaled the team doctor to come in quickly. Lipper's old friend Silvano Cotti ran over with a first aid kit. After a careful inspection for a few minutes, he shook his head slightly at Xiao Chenhui and others. His action was equivalent to confirming that Yan Zhao could not continue to participate. At least he would not be able to play in this game. If he forced himself to play with an injury, he would probably have sequelae. This was unfair to Yan Zhao's career. It was even more irresponsible. During the whole process of receiving treatment, Yan Zhao was in so much pain that he could not speak. He covered his leg injured by Dabu with both hands and buried his face deeply in the grass. 2 hot tears slid down his cheeks. There were only 20 minutes left in the game. In just 20 minutes, the Dragon team would be qualified to represent Dragon Country football. But he fell down. The regret in his heart was worse than the physical pain. He was tortured to death. Xiao Chenhui comforted him a few words, and then he and his teammates carried him to the stretcher. Watched him leave the field with tears. When the stretcher carrying Yan Zhao walked to the sidelines, the silent fans at the scene suddenly burst into thunderous shouts. Yan Zhao, come on. Dragon team, rise up. Over and over again. For a long time. Who is the real hope of Dragon Country football? Of course not the Pig Association. Not the big names of the Dragon Country team. Similarly, it is not the Dragon team fighting on the field. It is these fans who have devoted all their enthusiasm to Dragon Country football. Without their support from generation to generation, where would Dragon Country football come from? The hot gold dollar football market, the sky-high annual salary of foreign coaches, even the grey income that the Pig Association has embezzled under various pretexts. Every point is the hard-earned money of the fans. Hearing the thunderous shouts of the fans, Xiao Chenhui was deeply moved again. All members of the Dragon team were deeply moved, including Lippy, the temporary coach on the sidelines, even the referee on the field. Don't forget, he is also a Dragon countryman. It's just that being moved can't replace the rules of the game. The referee still slowly walked in front of Lippy. He made a gesture to allow substitutions. Yan Zhao was injured and left the field. The Dragon team had only 2 choices. Either replace Yan Zhao with a player, or play the rest of the game with 10 people. Lippy looked at the referee's gesture and sucked his teeth in embarrassment. There were only 11 people in total who should be replaced. When he was in great difficulty, Lippy saw Yang Chen holding a golden dragon blood robe and putting it on. Then he walked in front of him. Substitute player Yang Chen, apply to play. In the later period of his career, Yang Chen did play as a defender for a season. Since there is no one available for the Dragon team, then let Yang Chen take over. The Dragon team's pace should not be stopped like this, and it cannot be stopped. 1 minute later, Yang Chen stepped into the stadium wearing a golden dragon blood robe. The number on the jersey was the number 21 that Dragon Country fans were once very familiar with. In the Dragon team's half, 11 palms overlapped together. 11 hearts relied on each other. 11 voices roared in a soul-shaking manner. Dragon team must win. Chapter 188. Dragon team's first victory. Yang Chen is 40 years old this year. He has been training since he retired, and his body shape is still very good. Let him play the whole game or even half of the game. He may not be able to hold on because of his age and physical fitness. But if he only plays for 20 minutes, there is no big problem. What's more, Yang Chen is a hero in the eyes of many Dragon Country players. He is an idol. As soon as he came on the court, the momentum of the Dragon team was greatly boosted. The young players played harder. They fought fiercely with the big names of the Dragon team in every corner of the court. Every inch of land must be fought for. In the 73rd minute, the two new players of the Dragon team who had just been substituted on the field had a smooth cooperation. After receiving the pass, Yuan Xiao broke through Wang Shangyuan's defense with abundant physical strength. Then he sent a half-high arc ball. Yang Zhu took the ball with his back less than 10 meters away from the Dragon team's goal. With a light pad on the instep, he completed a beautiful turn with the ball. He took the opportunity to leave the Dragon team's central defender Liu Yiming behind. Facing the goal, Yang Zhu was about to shoot. Yang Chen bravely appeared in the right position. He didn't care about his age. He jumped up without hesitation. Before Yang Zhu finished shooting, he headed the football stuck in the air. In the 79th minute, Perrin shamelessly replaced the third player. He was still an offensive player who wanted to attack to the end. Relying on his abundant physical strength, the Longguo team launched another offensive 1 minute later. Dawu completed a steal in the backcourt and lifted the ball directly to the front court. Center forward Yang Zhu headed the ball. It was passed to Hao Junmin who was inserted. After Hao Junmin and Yuan Xiao made a two-pass wall cooperation, he got rid of Zhu Xin who was guarding him. After observing the situation on the field for a while, he swung his thigh and made a long shot. The young Gao Zunai was fooled. He immediately threw his body into the air and wanted to sacrifice himself to block the bullet hole. However, the experienced Hao Junmin only faked a shot. He faked a shot and passed the ball diagonally along the grass to Sun Ke who was rushing to the middle from the wing. Sun Ke did not make any adjustments after receiving the ball, but kicked it directly. At the critical moment, Yang Junling made a contribution. He jumped up with all his strength and smashed the whistling football with both fists. He blocked Sun Ke's powerful shot. After saving the ball, Yang Junling seemed very excited. He raised his head and cheered. He led the fans at the scene to cheer. In the 82nd minute, the Dragon Country team showed the third trick. It was Hao Junmin again. This time he moved to the wing. He used continuous fake moves to shake off Wei Shihao who was returning to defense. Then a cross at a 45-degree angle directly found the top of the head of the center forward Yang Zhu. Liu Yiming, the young central defender of the Dragon team, made a prediction in advance and stuck at the same point as Yang Zhu. The two jumped up almost at the same time to compete for the high ball. It stands to reason that Yang Zhu, who is 188 centimeters tall, is facing the goal, and Hao Junmin's pass is at an excellent landing point, so Yang Zhu should have better control of the football. But Liu Yiming, who is 190 centimeters tall, directly hit him with a mountain of pressure. With a more advantageous height, better jumping ability, and more tenacious fighting spirit, he touched the football before Yang Zhu. At the moment, when the football was about to touch Yang Zhu's hair, he rushed to head the football out. But for this clearance, Liu Yiming suffered a heavy blow from Yang Zhu. Yang Zhu, who had already made a header, could not change direction in the air. His forehead hit Liu Yiming's eye corner heavily. Liu Yiming's eye corner was broken and bleeding on the spot. After struggling painfully on the ground for half a minute, Liu Yiming stood up with great effort under the concerned eyes of Xiao Chenhui and others. After a simple bandage and treatment by the team doctor, he returned to the game. Looking at Liu Yiming, who had a thick bandage wrapped around the corner of his eye, Xiao Chenhui asked with concern, "How is it? Can you still hold on?" Liu Yiming narrowed his injured right eye and gave Xiao Chenhui a thumbs up. "Captain, don't worry, I can hold on." Xiao Chenhui didn't say anything more and patted Liu Yiming's shoulder vigorously. This scene moved the more than 20,000 fans at the scene. Work hard and climb to the top. As early as decades ago, this sentence was printed in white paint on the stadiums of various primary schools. However, with the development of the times, people's material life is getting higher and higher. How many people still remember this sentence? The most intuitive change is the degradation of the Longguo team. Decades ago, the pioneers of Longguo football once created the myth of unbeaten at Gangti. Regardless of whether the Gangti myth is truly prosperous or a false bubble, at least the older generation of players have been unbeaten before. So what about now? They hype before the game and apologize after the game. The modern Dragon Country players who have lost their blood seem to have regarded this process as normal. Who dares to lose? A 7-foot tall man. Once he gets on the field, he becomes a little lamb that can be bullied by anyone. Even the sheep feels that they have been greatly insulted. The attitude of the current Dragon Country players is a root cause of the fans' boycott and even scolding them. Unfortunately, the authorities are confused. The current big names can't see this clearly. Compared with their negativity, Yang Chen's reckless header and Liu Yiming's playing with injuries. It is more like the spiritual inheritance of Dragon Country football. The older generation of players passed on the spirit of hard work and climbing to the top to the new generation of players by words and deeds. This is what the majority of fans want to see most. Applause rang out. Warm and sincere. Dedicated to Liu Yiming who insisted on playing with injuries. And dedicated to the Dragon team who dared to fight and fight. The applause lasted for a full minute, like a shot of cardiac stimulant, injected into the bodies of the young members of the Dragon team. It was also like a loud slap in the face. The slap hit the faces of the big names of the Dragon Country team. The interrupted game entered the last few minutes. Whoever can hold on to the end and break the deadlock first will be the final winner. Xiao Han, who was sitting in the stands, couldn't help but clench his fists tightly. Zheng Fei and Sister Dang also looked solemn. The group of people from the Pig Association, led by Chenhui, tried to open their eyes wide. Everyone at the scene was waiting for the final result. The fight on the field became more intense. The bayonet saw blood. After withstanding the three axes of the Dragon Country team, the Dragon team, encouraged by the fans, began to show its power. In the last minute of the game, the Dragon team finally found an opportunity to attack. Zheng Zhi, who was in the midfield, desperately stole the ball and handed the ball to Zhang Zhi who ran out of the gap. The forward trident immediately ran forward desperately, tearing the defense line of the Dragon Country team from three directions. Zhang Zhi saw the opportunity and passed the ball straight to the ground. He stuffed the ball into the floor, exposed in the defense line of the Dragon Country team. A red and gold figure flashed through the layers of blockades. Xiao Chenhui, wearing a golden dragon blood robe, showed his sharpest blade. Offside. Go. Dragon God protect. Go. Pendulum pass. Go. Xiao Chenhui desperately activated all his skills. Like a tank running at full power, he madly crushed through the Dragon Country team's penalty area. He dribbled past Wang Dao's attack. He kicked the ball into the empty goal. The ball went in. The cheers that shook the world rang out everywhere in the stands. The Dragon team won its first victory since its establishment. Chapter 189 Asia Pioneer Mode starts. The stands were filled with cheers. The fans were so excited that they felt like they were seeing Dragon Country football enter the World Cup again. Some fans were so excited that they even rushed down the stands. They joined the Dragon team in celebrating wildly. Chenhui, the head of the Pig Association, stood up with a gloomy face. He reluctantly announced, from now on, the team that will represent Dragon Country football in international competitions is. The corners of his mouth twitched with difficulty several times. He finally said the name he was most reluctant to mention, Dragon Team. It would be strange if he was willing to do so. The Dragon team is composed of players who are registered with the Pig Association and play in the domestic professional league. There is no one who plays in Europe. How the rules are set and how the game is played, isn't it Chenhui who has the final say? Now it's alright. Things have completely turned around. Except for Zheng Zhi, all the other members of the Dragon team have completed registration in Europe. No matter how long Chenhui's hands are, they can't reach Europe. What's more, the Dragon team has fundamentally left the Pig Association and is not under his jurisdiction. Will the guys on the Dragon team listen to his orders? How will he have fun in the future? There will be no fun. If Xiao Chenhui hadn't exposed the crimes of the deputy head of the Pig Association, causing a nationwide crusade, Chenhui would have turned against the Dragon team on the spot and refused to recognize the legitimacy of the Dragon team under pressure. But now that things have come to this, he really has no choice. Some are happy and some are worried. Chenhui's face is full of depression. Zheng Fei and Sister Dang, who were sitting not far from him, looked at Xiao Han with a smile at the same time. Zheng Fei smiled and said, "Congratulations, President Xiao. You really raised a good son." Sister Dang added, "Scoring 3 goals in a game and turning the tide is not easy. In professional football terms, it should be called a hat trick, right?" Xiao Han couldn't hide his relief and pride on his face. But he joked with Sister Dang, "I didn't expect that the famous Iron Lady would also study hat tricks." The three of them smiled at each other. They were extremely comfortable. Xiao Han was proud of his son. Zheng Fei saw the hope of Dragon Country football. Sister Dang, as for her, keenly captured an emerging business opportunity. There is no sponsor logo on the Dragon team's golden dragon blood robe, right? Anyway, the old does not go, the new does not come. Some things do require the fearless spirit of breaking and then building. Only then can they reach a new peak. On this point, the three major business giants maintained a surprising consensus. They clearly foresaw that today was destined to be a brand new day for Dragon Country football. A new journey has begun. Amid deafening cheers, Xiao Chenhui heard a crisp prompt from the system. "Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully creating the Dragon team and opening the Asian Pioneer mode. And get 1000 free training points. Can be accumulated to any attribute score item." Xiao Chenhui quickly found a relatively quiet corner. He secretly called out the system to check. Host name, Xiao Chenhui. Age, 19. Height, 185 cm. Weight, 75 kg. Position on the field, center, winger. Shooting, 94. Defense, 45. Dribbling, 95. Passing, 78. Goalkeeping, 10. Set piece, 74. Strength, 85. Speed, 98. Bounce, 78. Awareness, 86. Physical strength, 80. Overall score, 94. Exclusive skills, SSS level skill pendulum passing, SS level skill dragon god bodyguard, S level skill offside, S level skill falling leaf / Asian Pioneer mode has been enabled. Matching players, none. Weak country strong general mode has not been enabled yet. The golden ball winner mode is not yet enabled. The number of free training points available is 1000. The key point is that the system clearly states that the free training points obtained this time can be directly added to the attributes. According to past experience, 1000 free training points can be exchanged for 2 points of complete attributes. Xiao Chenhui suppressed his ecstasy and thought about which attribute to add these 1000 training points to. After thinking about it, he still felt that the strongest explosive point should be highlighted first. Otherwise, if these hard-earned 2 points are added to the Lamé defensive attributes or goalkeeping attributes, wouldn't it be a waste? Among all the attributes currently owned by Xiao Chenhui, the strongest one is undoubtedly the speed attribute of up to 98 points. Why not increase the speed to the maximum first? Action is worse than thought. Xiao Chenhui immediately took action and evenly added 500 training points to the 5 small items such as explosive power and acceleration under the speed attribute. Sure enough, after the 5 small items were filled to 100, Xiao Chenhui's speed attribute increased from 98 points to 99 points. The 5 training items then changed back from 100 to 0 points. I still have 500 points, come on. After another short busy period, the speed score in the system increased again 100 points. Perfect. Xiao Chenhui's first percentile attribute appeared. It is estimated that his current 100 meter speed may reach an astonishing 10 seconds. Of course, what Xiao Chenhui is most concerned about is not the new high of his own speed attribute score. It is the Asian Pioneer mode that has never been turned on. Since the system was acquired, this column has never been turned on. With the first victory of the Dragon team, it suddenly turned on. Is there any mysterious connection with the Dragon team? Facts have proved that Xiao Chenhui guessed right. The system's Asian Pioneer mode is not aimed at Xiao Chenhui personally. It is aimed at the members of the Dragon team. According to the system description, we can know, in the days to come, whenever the Dragon team wins honors on behalf of Dragon Country football, or when Xiao Chenhui wins personal honors as a Dragon Country player, the system will match the outstanding Dragon team members with a star card. It is almost the same as Xiao Chenhui's fusion of Ronaldo's star card. Of course, The matching mode of Asia Pioneer is not a star making factory. It is impossible to directly create a large number of superstars. Only individual players with outstanding performance can be matched by the system, and the matching range is limited to the Asian region. It is impossible to get the star card of Alien Ronaldo by completing the first main task like Xiao Chenhui. You can get the star card of God of War Batistuta by completing the second main task. Instead, you can only match the star cards of already famous Asian players. For example, the older generation of Dragon Country, such as Yang Chen, Chui, Sun Jahei, and General Fan. Or the star cards of Iran, Australia, etc. that belong to the AFC. Another condition for system matching is to match according to the technical characteristics of the matched Dragon Team players themselves. For example, if Wu Lei gets a match, he can only merge with a star card with similar technical characteristics. If you are unlucky, the star card given by the system is a strong center type, or the position is different from Wu Lei's winger position. There will also be a match failure. Imagine, the Asian player star card given by the system is a goalkeeper position, and the person who gets the match opportunity is Wu Lei or Wei Xiao. That's tragic. Even if the match is successful in the end, it won't help them much. Vice versa. If Yan Junling gets a forward star card, what help will it have for him? What's more interesting is that the system clearly stated that the star cards that can be obtained in the Asian Pioneer mode do not include players from the two countries of Sakura country and Korea country. Could it be that the system also has the stubborn attributes of Dragon country fans? I would never want to be associated with players from those two dirty countries. What is this saying? But although the system is always a pit, the newly opened Asian Pioneer mode has various restrictions. But it ultimately provides a shortcut for the Dragon Team to become stronger. As long as the young players of the Dragon Team perform well in international competitions, they still have a chance to gain the favor of the system. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190, Preparing for the Asian Cup. The first victory after the establishment of the team. The Dragon Team replaced the former Dragon Country team and became the only regular player of Dragon Country football. But the players of the Dragon Team did not have much time to celebrate, because the first test in front of them is coming. The Australian Asian Cup, that is, the 16th Asian Cup, will kick off in more than 20 days. The current personnel reserve of the Dragon Team has become the biggest problem. You must know that the Dragon Team has only 11 people in total. In the park match with the Dragon Country team, Yan Zhao was injured by Dabu's Blackfoot and left the field. To what extent can he recover in more than 20 days? No one can make an accurate judgment. According to the team Dr. Silvano Cotti, Yan Zhao is likely to miss the first group match. Whether he can come back before the second group match is a big question mark. In addition to the problem of staffing, the running in between the players, the implementation of Lipper's coaching ideas, the cost of the expedition to Australia, etc. are all urgent problems to be solved. However, the members of the Dragon Team were not defeated by the difficulties of reality. Instead, he trained harder on the training ground. There is always a solution to the problem. But if you give up on your own initiative, there will be no hope at all. Monica, the logistics manager, looked at the young men who were training hard on the field every day. She silently took out a card and contributed it to the logistics support. There were more than 3 million euros on this card. Half of it was earned from selling bags, and the other half was earned by Monica selling all the bitcoins in her hands. As the Bitcoin market rose, the Bitcoin bought at a low price made 5 times the profit. Although now is not the best time to sell Bitcoin. But Monica really couldn't bear to see her man worry about money. Ma Fanshu also came to help. She sold 3 of the 10 properties purchased in Xiangcheng and Ansheng. In exchange for 5 million Dragon Country currency, she gave it to Monica. Although these two beautiful girls usually don't get along well, they trust each other without reservation at this time. Yang Chen, Zhui and Duan Zuan also want to use part of their savings to support the Dragon Team. Zheng Zhi and others in the Dragon team also said that they could pay out of their own pockets. But Xiao Chenhui politely declined. If you can't even solve the problems of logistical support and bonus distribution for the players, what qualifications do you have to be the captain of the Dragon team? What's more, the funds supported by Monaco and Ma Fanchu are enough for the Dragon team's expenses during the Asian Cup. Compared with funds, the most difficult problem to solve is the staffing problem. The Dragon national team was disbanded on the spot, but the Pig Association was still there. Few Dragon national players were willing to take the risk of offending the Pig Association and join the Dragon team that had just slapped the Pig Association in the face. Lippi discussed with Yang Chen, Zhui and others for 2 days, but they couldn't come up with a feasible solution. Lippi was so worried that his white hair fell down in handfuls. The silver fox was about to become a sand fox. When he was at a loss, Hao Junmin suddenly called request to join the Dragon team to compete in the Asian Cup, and made it clear that he could retreat to the backline to replace the injured Yan Zihao. With the previous experience of Dawu, Lippi was not willing to easily accept the players of the Dragon team. However, Zheng Zhi patted his chest and said that Hao Junmin and Dawu were not the same kind of people. His character was definitely trustworthy. Out of trust in Zheng Zhi, Lippi and the players of the Dragon team finally accepted Hao Junmin. After all, in that park match, Hao Junmin was one of the few people who did not play dirty tricks on the players of the Dragon team. Just for this reason, it can be proved that his character is more reliable than Dawu. After Hao Junmin officially joined the Dragon team, it was like the first domino was pushed down, causing a series of chain reactions. In the next 3 days, many former or current international players left the Dragon team, either under the persuasion of Zheng Zhi and Hao Junmin, or took the initiative to come to the temporary base of Shuanghu of the Dragon team. Sun Ke, the wing attacker, Yu Hei and Juhan Chao, the versatile front court players, Huang Bo Wen, the midfielder of the Dragon team during the Perrin period, and Li Zupeng, the left wing magic wing, the former all-around defender Wan Haoyang, the goalkeeper Li Shui with good conduct, and the veteran fullback Sun Xiang who announced his withdrawal from the Dragon country team last year. Finally, a list of 18 people was put together. In fact, there are not many of these people who are in their prime, and they are not the most capable group of active Dragon country players. But the Dragon team's team building philosophy first values character and ball quality. Secondly, ability and technology. Gaolin and Dawu have good skills, but who can trust them to join the Dragon team? A black thing can spoil a good pot of porridge. The Dragon team does not need airplanes in front of the goal and walks in the backcourt. What is needed is the fighting spirit of daring to fight and fight. The lack of skills can be compensated by diligence. If there is no desire to fight, what can be used to make up? In the next half month, everyone performed their duties and got busy separately. Lippi led the 18-man list of the Dragon team to work overtime to practice tactics and cultivate tacit understanding. Yang Chen and Zhui actively assisted Lippi in team building. Duan Zuan is in charge of external publicity, paving the way for the Dragon team to go to the Asian Cup. Team Dr. Silvano Cotti treated the injured Yan Zihao carefully while helping other members relieve fatigue after training. The busiest one is Monica. She has to prepare for the Dragon team's board and lodging after arriving in Australia and rush to make more golden dragon blood robes for emergency use. She also has to meet with sponsors from time to time to discuss. She also has to represent all members of the Dragon team to submit the match list, team song and team logo to the AFC, and wait for the AFC to review, and a series of other things. She is so busy that she is very happy. Even Ma Fanchu couldn't stand it anymore and took the initiative to help her share the board and lodging and the problem of rushing to make the golden dragon blood robe. This gave Monica more time to deal with other things. Since ancient times, the army has not moved yet, but the food and grass have come first. On the field, no one can see the hard work of the workers behind the scenes. All they see are the highlights of the players. But who can deny the hard work of the workers behind the scenes? Without the support of logistics, even the strongest warriors cannot exert their full strength on the battlefield. As for Xiao Chenhui, in addition to the hard and rigorous training, he also took on the work of an interpreter. He built a bridge of communication between Lippi and the players of the Dragon team. There is no way. Who can speak fluent Italian? Who makes the Dragon team have limited funds and can't afford a professional translator? But it is precisely because of this extra work that Xiao Chenhui's prestige in the team has become higher and higher. If it was because of his own strength that he gained the respect of the players before, then now, respect has become trust. Xiao Chenhui translated carefully and explained patiently. He combined the advanced technical and tactical play that Lippi said with Inzaghi's tactical thinking and told his teammates in the simplest Dragon language. And in the process of translation, he will also make targeted suggestions based on the strengths and weaknesses of the players themselves. Who doesn't like such a captain? Half a month later, no one regards Xiao Chenhui as just a captain anymore. Instead, he has been upgraded to half a head coach. Chapter 191 Group Stage 1. The 16th Asian Cup will start in a week. The host country of this Asian Cup is Australia. Although Australia joined the Asian Football Confederation as early as 2005, 10 years ago, it is not an Asian country after all. There are big differences between it and Asian countries in terms of food culture, climate, and environment. The members of the Dragon team must rush over in advance to adapt to the environment. By the way, get familiar with the venue. Even Yan Zihao, who is recovering from injury, came along. Even if he can't play in the first group match, he must be with his teammates of the Dragon team all the time. Even if he is just a cheerleader, it's okay. The Asian Cup in previous years was basically held in June and July. Due to the climate in Australia, the time for this Asian Cup has become the beginning of the year. It just so happens that this period is the winter break for major European clubs. For players playing in Europe, it is still relatively advantageous. This convenient condition was originally only beneficial to a few countries such as Sakura country, Korea country and Australia. After all, these football powers have many players playing in Europe. But as the Dragon team replaced the Dragon country team, it became the orthodoxy of the Dragon country. The Dragon team also gained some conveniences. After all, more than half of the 18-man roster of the Dragon team played in Europe. In addition to Xiao Chenhui, who has become the captain of Brescia and the flag of the new generation. Wu Lei in the Spanish team in La Liga, Zhang is in the Hoffenheim team in the Bundesliga, and Yan Junling in the Bologna team in Serie B have gradually become important rotation candidates for the head coach. In addition, Wang Shangyuan in the blue team in the Ratio, Gao Zunai in the Sakura country B League can be regarded as a firm foothold. In addition, the four little swans who have emerged in the Stay in Portugal plan. Zuzan of Atletico Madrid B team, Wedi Shaheo of Bovista B team, Liu Yiming and Yan Zihao of Sporting Lisbon B team also occupied a place in their respective teams before the winter break. They were able to represent the B teams of several clubs in the secondary league and got a lot of playing time. Especially Wedi Shaheo, who was once promoted to the first team. He played several Portuguese Super League games on behalf of Bovista. It can be regarded as an appearance in the mainstream European league. Such experience made them grow up quickly. If we put aside the game experience, their strength is not even worse than those big names of the Dragon country team. And their attitude towards the game is much more correct. Their fighting spirit is not comparable to those big names, who live a life of luxury and eat sea cucumbers. In the words of Xiao Chenhui, soldiers are more valuable than numbers. So what if there are 18 players on the roster? They can still play the style that Dragon country football should have. Time passed day by day. The day of the first group match finally arrived. The Dragon team will compete with the Cheoksam team at the Canberra Stadium. The Cheoksam team has never had much influence in Asia. However, in the past 10 years, a group of talented players have emerged in the team. The fighting power has risen accordingly. Whoever treats them as a weak team will definitely pay the price. Lippi, the head coach of the Dragon team, made a detailed analysis of this. Although the Cheoksam team is stronger than before, they are still the weakest opponent in the group stage. No one else. And Lippi also pointed out, the order of the group stage matches is the most favorable for the Dragon team. The first opponent is the weakest team in the group, the Cheoksam team. The second is the medium strength Uzbek team. The last group match will be against the strongest opponent in the group, Saudi Arabia. This order is exactly the opposite of the order of strength and weakness that the Dragon team encountered in its only appearance in the 2002 World Cup. If the opponents are compared to the rhythm of strong, weak, and second strong and weak. That time, after the Dragon team faced the weakest opponent Costa Rica, it faced the strongest Samba country in the group stage. And the Samba country at that time had the terrifying 3R combination. The trident composed of Ronaldo, Rivaldo, and Ronaldinho was definitely the strongest offensive combination in that era. No one else. It was precisely with the power of the 3R combination that the Samba country beat the Dragon team 4-0 at that time, making the Dragon team lose face. Later, the Samba country swept all the powerful teams and successfully won the championship of that World Cup. After playing against the Samba country, the confidence of the Dragon team was shattered. They were eliminated early. In this Asian Cup group stage, the Dragon team just encountered the easy first, difficult later battle order. It is better to start with the easiest questions than to start with the most difficult questions. The players of both sides entered the field with their caddies and stood in a row. The Xiao team song was the first to sound over the Canberra Stadium. In international competitions, the team song is generally the national anthem of the country. Therefore, when the melody just burst out the first scale, the 11 starting players of Xiao raised their heads, patted their chests, and sang loudly. This game belongs to the home court of the Xiao team. So the organizers played their team song first. A few minutes later, it was the turn of the Dragon team's team song. The familiar melody of March of the Volunteers did not sound. Instead, it was replaced by the Lone Warrior. Due to the secret obstruction of the Dragon Country Pig Association, the Dragon team sent 2 letters to the AFC, stating that the Dragon team was not the regular army of Dragon Country football, and had no right to use the Dragon Country flag and team song. As a result, the AFC's review failed. The Dragon team had to replace the most familiar melody in the hearts of countless Dragon Country people with the Lone Brave. At the same time, the flag that symbolizes the 5,000 years of culture of the Dragon country was not allowed to be used by the Dragon team. Monica had to fight for several days and nights. While studying the cultural history of the Dragon country, she painstakingly designed a new team flag. In the end, she designed a team flag that was in the same vein as the Dragon team's golden dragon blood robe. It was mainly bright red. There was a golden oriental dragon embroidered on it, and 4 golden dragon balls were surrounded by it. This team flag was called the song Dragon Flag. Listening to the passionate melody, and looking at the song Dragon Flag with a strong Dragon country culture in their hands, Xiao Chenhui and the members of the Dragon team felt very lost. Although the Lone Brave was nice to listen to, but how they wished that what was being played at this moment was the real anthem of the Dragon Nation. Although the song of the Dragon Flag was beautiful, how they wished that what they held in their hands was the 5-star battle flag. Wait. One day, the Dragon team will let the March of the Volunteers resound through the hall. One day, the Dragon team will let the 5-star battle flag fly on the top of the world. This journey may be long, but once the arrow is shot, there is no turning back. Since there is no way to retreat, then go forward bravely. Crash a path through the mountain wall in front. The Dragon team will win. Chapter 192 Lippers Value. Xiao Sports Channel. Xiao Sports Channel. Hello everyone. Welcome to the live broadcast of the Australian Asian Cup. Later on, the first group match between our Dragon team and the Xiao team will be held. I'm your old friend Hiwei. This match will be explained by me and Coach Zanjun. Now, please let Coach Zanjun introduce the starting lineups of both teams. Perhaps knowing that the fans have been waiting for a long time and can't wait to know the matchup between the two teams, the football poet Hiwei did not use the usual poetry recitation as an opening remark. Instead, he went straight to the point. After all, this is the first international match for the Dragon team to represent Dragon country football. Fans across the country are watching with enthusiasm. If Hiwei hesitated at this time, he would probably be sprayed to death by the fans' saliva in the next second. Another onside commentator, Zanjun, was even more straightforward than Hiwei. He began by explaining the starting lineups of both teams in a straightforward manner. Hello, everyone. I'm Zanjun. Let me explain the starting lineups of both teams. For the Dragon team, head coach Lippi has deployed a 3-4-3 formation that we haven't seen often in the past. No 10 Xiao Chenhui, number 7 Wu Lei, and number 11 Wei Xiao form the trident on the front line. Among them, Xiao Chenhui is a player that everyone is already familiar with. He currently plays for Brescia, the half-time champion of Serie A before the winter break. He won the half-time top scorer of Serie A and recently won the European Golden Boy Award. In this game, Xiao Chenhui will serve as a starting center forward. With his sharp offensive ability, gust of wind, and beautiful dribbling, he will be the most threatening arrow on the Dragon team's front line. It can be said that he, who has just turned 19, is already the biggest star among our country's players. The other two players in the trident, 23-year-old Wu Lei plays for Spanish side Espanyol in La Liga. In the half season, since landing in La Liga, he has played 12 times. 5 of which were starts, and has scored 3 goals so far. The other winger, Wei Xiao, is a young player from the Stay in Portugal plan. He is only 20 years old this year. He currently plays for Boavista in the Portuguese Super League. In the midfield, head coach Lippi chose a 2-wing flying configuration with 2 sides and 2 centers. The 2 wingers are the familiar Hao Junmin and Juhan Chao, and in the center are Zhang Ziz who plays for Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga, and Wang Shangyuan who plays for Brussels in the Belgian First Division. The 3 defenders are led by veteran Zheng Zhi, with Wan Haoying and Liu Yiming as partners. This is a defense line that combines the old, middle-aged, and young. Guarding the goal for the Dragon team is the equally young goalkeeper Yan Junling, who currently plays for Bologna in Serie B, and is only 22 years old this year. We are proud that 7 of the Dragon team's starting lineup are playing for European clubs. This has never happened in previous Dragon national team matches. More than half of the players are in Europe, which means that Dragon national football is about to reach an unprecedented peak. Compared with the detailed introduction of the Dragon team's lineup, Zanjun's introduction to the Xiao team is much briefer. It can almost be described in one sentence. He just read the names according to the starting list. However, Zanjun still highlighted a few Xiao players who need to be paid special attention to. Zheng Dashi and Park Kwang-yang on the front line. Hong Yingzhao, the core of the midfield, and An Yingsu, the interception champion. Li Junmu, the backbone of the defense, and Li Mingguo, the goalkeeper. The central axis formed by these players is the key figure for the Xiao team to reach the Asian Cup final. In fact, the Xiao team was able to enter the World Cup in 2010. It was also because of the outstanding performance of these players. However, due to their special domestic situation, Park Kwang-yang is the only one in the team who plays in Europe. He currently plays for Basel in Switzerland. The rest of the players either play for domestic clubs or play in the leagues of Sakura country or Korea country. In terms of popularity, they are still inferior to the members of the Dragon team. But fame is a paper strength. It does not mean that a team with a big reputation will definitely win. Are the players in England famous? They are all world-class stars. Putting them together, they become the European Dragon team ridiculed by fans. It can be seen that fame is by no means a reasonable standard for measuring a team. What's more, what are the characteristics of the Xiao team? If you don't agree with them, you have to fight your opponent to death. If they really go crazy, even the Samba team will have a headache. So the best way to deal with them is to suppress them at the beginning of the game. In this regard, Lippi made careful arrangements. From the first minute, the players of the two teams entered a fierce confrontation. Doesn't the Xiao team like to fight hard? Then we will fight harder than you. And in Lippi's tactical arrangement, there are 2 people whose positions are very special. One of them is a starting center Xiao Chenhui. Although he is called a center forward, his position is actually slightly backward. It is a bit like the shadow forward style of play. The reason for this arrangement is that Lippi wants to give full play to Xiao Chenhui's abundant physical strength and extremely fast speed. It is convenient for Xiao Chenhui to support the midfield at any time. It forms a local suppression of more people against fewer people. The number of people limits the passing and receiving cooperation of the Xiao team. Another person with a special position is Zheng Zhi. Although Zheng Zhi is standing in the position of central defender, his playing style is completely a sweeper. As long as the players of the Xiao team enter the backcourt of the Dragon team, they will become his hunting target. They will be stubbornly blocked by Zheng Zhi in front, and followed by Wang Shangyuan's relentless pursuit in the back. The players of the Xiao team will be attacked from all sides, and have a dilemma. The value of the world-class gold medal coach was clearly presented to everyone within the first 10 minutes. You must know that the strongest point of the Xiao team is the cooperation on the central axis. It's like a person's spine. Lippi broke this spine with one shot. The vital point of the Xiao team was broken. The power of the Xiao team's central axis was greatly reduced. They were forced to be unable to raise their heads in front, unable to stand up in the middle, and even became crippled in the back. The 100% power dropped to 60%. Naturally, they could not pose any threat to the Dragon team. But just being impregnable cannot fully reflect the ability of a world-famous coach. So after the Dragon team held on for 10 minutes and extinguished the Xiao team's arrogance, they began to counter-attack according to Lippi's instructions. In the 13th minute, veteran Zheng Zhi completed a steal in the backcourt again. With his experience, he seized the impatient mentality of the Xiao team players and made a long pass through the entire midfield barrier of the Xiao team. He handed the ball to Zhang, who ran out of position in a hurry. Zhang took the ball and turned around. With his flexible feet, he relied on this turning action to unexpectedly shake off the opponent's midfielder and Yingzu's defense. Then he used this momentary opportunity to pass the ball to the back line of the Xiao team. The golden and red figure suddenly rose. Xiao Chenhui was almost parallel to the back line of the Xiao team, and he started to overtake at an amazing speed. In an instant, he shook off the two nearby defenders. He completed a beautiful offside. Then he rushed towards the goal with the ball at lightning speed. He hit Wang Lang directly. Chapter 193, Victory over the first opponent. How fast is Xiao Chenhui, whose speed score has been raised to 100 points? In the previous half-month run in training, Xiao Chenhui specially tested his speed. The speed of running 100 meters without the ball is 10.06 seconds. Running with the ball is 10.12 seconds. You should know that in 2015, the fastest person in Asia was Femi. His fastest speed of 100 meters was 9.97 seconds. Xiao Chenhui is a football player, and his 100 meter speed is only less than 0.1 seconds behind the Asian record. What is the concept of 0.1 seconds? It is estimated that a normal person can't even finish the action in a blink of an eye. If put in the professional sprinter arena, Xiao Chenhui may even get a ranking in Asia. Even the son of the wind Kanigir, the fastest runner in football history, can only eat dirt behind Xiao Chenhui. What's more, the two central defenders of the Xiao team are more powerful than fierce, but not fast enough. Even if they are given two more legs, they can't catch up with the live animal in front of them. So, they could only watch Xiao Chenhui like the Monkey King riding on the somersault cloud. He flew all the way to his own goalkeeper Longguo. It's not that they don't want to help. It's just that they have the will, but not the strength. Even if they want to foul Xiao Chenhui from behind, they can't do it. The arms of two people combined can't reach the taillights of Xiao Chenhui's car. The strength doesn't allow it. Xiao goalkeeper Longguo knew that he couldn't rely on the two brothers. He had to abandon the goal and rushed towards Xiao Chenhui. Even if Xiao Chenhui was tripped to the ground, giving him a penalty kick is better than facing a one-on-one shot. It's a pity that Longguo's idea was good, but obviously he didn't do enough homework beforehand. What's the difference between using an attack to resolve Xiao Chenhui's one-on-one shot and seeking death? Of course, this is also related to the special reasons in North Korea, a country that is closed to the outside world. Can you expect him to know everything about the outside world, let alone Xiao Chenhui's characteristic of being as steady as a dog when attacking alone? Ask Longguo if he knows Xiao Chenhui's name. Does he know who the white-haired head coach of the Dragon team is? If he can answer, then hell. The system skill bar flashed with golden light. The SSS level skill pendulum dribbling was activated. Skill effect: when facing a defensive player one-on-one, the success rate of breakthrough increases by 95. Even Inter Milan's first-generation goalkeeper Handanovic couldn't defend against him. What is this unknown goalkeeper Longguo 2 shakes and 1 dunk. Snap. Lee Mingo braked with his face against the ground. He fell heavily on the grass. Xiao Chenhui took the ball and wiped it in the opposite direction of Lee Mingo's fall. He easily pushed the ball into the empty goal. A series of records were born. Xiao Chenhui's first goal for Dragon Country in the international arena. The youngest captain of Dragon Country football in the international arena. The Dragon team, which carried the Dragon Country team, scored the first goal. Hula, Wu Lei and others quickly surrounded them. They started stacking up like crazy. Xiao Chenhui, who was instantly pressed at the bottom, said sadly, "Why do you like to play this trick? I'm almost a professional." Fortunately, based on Xiao Chenhui's prestige in the team, the members of the Dragon team respect him very much. Therefore, the embarrassing thing like reaching out to steal the bird's nest in the Brescia team did not happen. Xiao Chenhui was just simply pressed. The bird's nest is still intact. After the ball was scored, Lippi let out a long sigh. What he feared most was that he could not break the deadlock on the field within the time of his tactical arrangement. After all, strictly speaking, the Dragon team was put together by patchwork. Although more than half of the young players in the team play in European clubs, they are very lacking in actual combat experience. If they cannot score goals at the time node arranged by Lippi, it is likely to affect the mentality of the young players. Let them question their abilities. Once these young players lose confidence, the game will be dangerous. Fortunately, Lippi's worries did not become a reality. Because the Dragon team has the Golden Dragon King Xiao Chenhui. No matter when, where, or who the opponent is, he will always use goals to reassure everyone. And as the Dragon team took the lead in breaking the deadlock, the players' momentum immediately came up. The Dragon team, which is mostly young, may not have enough experience to play against the wind. But in the wind, how to play is good. What's more, there is a Xiao Chenhui who is so fast. Starting from scoring this goal, in the next 15 minutes, Xiao Chenhui used lightning sprints again and again to show his style of the European Golden Boy Award. Not only did he play an important role in the midfield zone joint defense, he helped Zhang Ziz and Wang Shangyu steal the ball of the Xiaoxin team twice. He also turned into the King Lang Yanyu sword in the hands of Guan Nerj in the offense. He chopped the opponent's defense line with a knife after a knife. He directly chopped the Xiaoxin team's defense line into pieces. The game was in the 28th minute. It was Xiao Chenhui who again launched a fast and powerful attack on Li Junmu and his team with the ball. Li Junmu and his team from the Xiaoxin team simply could not defend against this fierce beast. Xiao Chenhui swung his tail beautifully. He shook a fullback and made him lose his balance. Then he did a beautiful Marcel turn. He also shook Li Junmu's partner and made him lose his mind. Then he pedaled bicycles continuously. Li Junmu, the central defender and captain of the Xiaoxin team, was declared broken. He was embarrassedly left behind by Xiao Chenhui. He once again faced Lee Mingo, the goalkeeper of Xiaoxin, alone. Lee Mingo's face turned green. He cried in grief and anger in his heart, "Come again. Please be a human being." However, Xiao Chenhui did not use the pendulum's magical skill again this time. Instead, after attracting Lee Mingo to the front of the door, he gently pushed his feet and knocked the football out horizontally. Because at that position, Wu Lei had already run to the position. Young players need encouragement, and the best way to encourage is to help him score goals. I'm not nitpicking or posing as an expert to point fingers. If the experts were useful, the Dragon Country team would have already broken out of Asia and entered the world. How could it only make it to the World Cup finals once? The experts don't think about it. They say this young player is not good enough, that veteran is not good enough. They are always finding faults. But can they do it themselves? Wu Lei certainly has some shortcomings. But at least he has the courage to play, the spirit to land in Europe, and the determination to be positive. What about the experts? I'm afraid they are only fit to hide in the dark corners, spitting saliva and talking nonsense. In front of the goal of the Xiaoxin team. After receiving the cross pass from Xiao Chenhui, Wu Lei chose the most reliable push to the far corner, when no one was guarding him. Helped the Dragon team expand its advantage to 2 goals. After scoring the goal, Wu Lei excitedly ran towards Xiao Chenhui. While running, he shouted madly, "Captain, I did it." Did you see it? I really did it. Xiao Chenhui hugged Wu Lei, who ran in front of him, tightly. He gave him a big hug. Wu Lei's talent is very good, and he works very hard. He will go to Europe for training several years earlier than the course of history. The achievements he can make in the future will definitely be more dazzling than before. Xiao Chenhui has never doubted this. Wu Lei's goal further boosted the momentum of the Dragon team. It also completely destroyed the confidence of the Xiaochen players. They played a little listlessly in the remaining time of the first half, and ended the first half of the game hastily. In the second half, less than 10 minutes after the start, Zhang Zi seized the opponent's negligence, and sent an imaginative ground pass. As accurate as a scalpel, it instantly tore through the opponent's defense. When Xiao rushed over, he raised his foot and shot. The suspense of this game was completely killed. Chapter 194 Epismocha Screen. The trident of the Dragon team showed their power collectively. They stabbed the Xiaochen team 3 times in a row. The fans watching the game were so excited, especially the Dragon Country fans who came from afar to support the game. The cheers were getting louder and louder. Their voices were almost hoarse. But it was worth it. The local Australian fans gave the Dragon team rare warm applause. In their inherent impression, Dragon Country football should be played very ugly. But today, it seems that the level of Dragon Country football is higher than expected. Especially the center forward, Dragon Country Zaro. His performance today was very good. It is still worth warm applause. The poet Iweni took the opportunity to lead the rhythm. 30 years on the west side of the river, 30 years on the east side of the river. Don't bully the poor young people. Today's Dragon Country football is no longer a weakling at the mercy of others. I dare not say that Dragon Country football will reach its peak from now on, but at least, the boys of the Dragon team have given us hope. Another commentator, Zanjun, also made a fair evaluation. That's right. The basic skills shown by the Dragon team in this game are very solid. The passing skills and teamwork also have obvious European characteristics. This is inseparable from their courage to step out of their comfort zone and take root in various European leagues. I believe that in time, our Dragon team will become a force that cannot be ignored in Asia. The performance of the Dragon team members deserves the high praise of Iweni and Zanjun. In the remaining game time, they firmly controlled the rhythm on the field. When attacking, it was like mercury pouring out of the ground. When defending, it was as solid as a rock. There was no mistake that should not have occurred due to lack of game experience. They were as experienced as a group of veterans who had been on the battlefield for a long time. Head coach Lippi was very satisfied with this. In the last 20 minutes of the game, he even replaced Zuzin, Huangbo Wen and Sun Xiang. He replaced Xiao Chenhui, Wang Shangyuan and Zheng Zhi. In the previous games, the 3 of them fought the hardest. Naturally, they consumed more energy. Replacing them early was also for their protection. The 3 people who came on the field were also a combination of old, middle-aged, and young people. Zuzin needed more games to accumulate experience. Huangbo Wen and Sun Xiang used the remaining game time to find their form. After all, the latter 2 people have not been selected for the new Dragon Country team for some time. They need to adapt to the atmosphere of the competition again. When the 90-minute game ended, the final score was locked at 3-0. The Dragon team easily won the first victory of this Asian Cup with a hearty victory. A good start. At the press conference after the game, Lippi appeared in front of reporters from all walks of life with Xiao Chenhui. Without waiting for the reporter to ask questions, Lippi took the lead and said, "I'm very satisfied with the game that just ended. My players have shown their best condition, and the team's tactics and lineup have been fixed. I believe we will play better and better in the next games." Some savvy reporters seemed to have captured useful information in Lippi's words. They asked quickly, "Mr. Marcelo, you said that the tactics and lineup of the Dragon national team tend to be fixed. Does this mean that the lineup of the Dragon national team will not change again? Also, Mr. Marcelo, I heard that the Dragon national team only has 18 players participating in the Asian Cup this time. Did you fix the formation out of helplessness? In addition, I would like to ask a question, Mr. Marcelo." The reporter's cameras were aimed at Lippi, who accidentally leaked the secret. Waiting for his affirmative answer, Lippi finally reacted belatedly. He hesitated for half a minute. Then he changed the subject and corrected the reporter's questions. "Everyone, I need to make it clear that our team is called the Dragon Team, not the Dragon Country Team. Of course, our Dragon Team represents Dragon Country football." Compared to the slip of the tongue just now, Lippi's current change of subject is more like covering up the truth. It's like an excited person blurting out the truth of the matter, then deliberately looking for various topics to cover it up. This is the fact seen by reporters from all over the world, leading the Dragon Team to win the first international competition since the team was founded. Even the world famous coach Lippi would be a little excited. Excited. Lippi accidentally told the truth. Various speculations fermented in the hearts of reporters. It basically confirmed the fact that Lippi would not change the Leduc. After all, the considerable conditions are there. The Dragon Team has only 18 people, and one of them is Yan Zihao, who is injured and unable to play. Among the remaining 17 people, even if Lippi is a world famous coach, what tricks can he come up with? A good cook cannot cook without rice, which is the current situation of the Dragon Team. No one saw it. At the moment, when Lippi turned and left, he showed a smile like an old fox on his face with the vicissitudes of life. Do you really think that I told the whole world the truth by a slip of the tongue? Then you can guess. I just smiled silently and didn't say anything. There was a 3-day interval between the first and second group matches. Lippi led the Dragon Team from Canberra to Brisbane. He took advantage of the 3-day break and started close training. He also declined any pre-match interviews from reporters. People outside had no idea what they were training. Keep it secret. Compared with the first game, the next 2 games are the real test. The next 2 group matches of the Dragon Team will be held at the Brisbane Stadium. First, against Uzbekistan. Then there is a tough battle with Shat. Uzbekistan originally did not have a high status in Asian football, but in the past 10 years, they have used reasonable naturalization methods to introduce a large number of foreign players. The team's strength has grown significantly. It has completed a gorgeous transformation. It has become another victim of the Dragon Country Team, which has been stagnant for many years. Fortunately, the Dragon Country football is now represented by the vigorous Dragon Team. They are not afraid of any opponent. On the training ground, the members of the Dragon Team are training hard. This includes Zheng Zhi, who is already 34 years old. The flowers of success are watered with hard sweat. It is unrealistic to dream of conquering the world by eating sea cucumbers without any hard work. Since the Dragon Team has only 18 people, it is impossible to put together 2 lineups for the competition. Yang Chen and Zhui went into battle and joined the training. Duan Zuan also brought in the poet Iweni, who loves to play football. He took the initiative to take on the task of sparring. Finally, the Dragon Team's competition can be carried out normally. Although the conditions are a bit difficult, everyone is happy to do it. Everyone's face is always filled with a confident and powerful smile. Chapter 195. Can you be a human being? After 3 days of close training, the Dragon Team welcomed the second game of the group stage. At the pre-match press conference, the head coach of the Uzbek team patted his chest and promised that he had found a way to crack the Dragon Team's 3-4-3 formation and would beat the Dragon Team back to its original form in the game. But when the players of both sides lined up to enter the field, the head coach of the Uzbek team was stunned. What the hell? Where is the fixed formation? I have already boasted about it at the pre-match press conference, and you guys are trying to change the formation? You caught me off guard. Too cunning. What did this miserable passer be? Head coach C. Hiweians and Jun's commentators quickly gave the answer. Dear fans. The second group match of Group B of the Asian Cup is about to start, and our Dragon Team will face the Uzbek team. In the starting lineup, we can see that head coach Lippi has made major adjustments. Currently, only number 10 Xiao Chenhui is standing on the front line. Wu Lei and Wei Zhihao, who originally partnered with him in the front trident, both retreated to the position between the wingers and the wing midfielders, forming an alternative midfield wing. The other 2 players in the midfield are Zheng Zhi and Zhang Ziz. Veteran Zheng Zhi stood in the position of central midfielder, while Zhang Ziz stood slightly forward, standing in the area between the attacking midfielder and the central midfielder. The biggest change is the Dragon Team's defense line. In this game, the Dragon team's defense line consists of 5 players. From left to right are Sun Xiang, Liu Yiming, Gao Zunai, Wan Haoying, and Hao Junmin. The goalkeeper is still number 1 Yan Junling. He will be the main goalkeeper of the Dragon team in this game. We can see that the starting lineup of head coach Lippi is not much different from the last game. He just put veteran Sun Xiang and Mesozoic Hao Junmin in the starting lineup. But this starting lineup, which is not much different, has undergone earth-shaking changes in the positions. Except for number 10 Xiao Chenhui and number 1 Yan Junling, the positions of others have changed. From the 3-4-3 formation in the last game to 5-4-1. This is why the head coach of the Uzbek team was dumbfounded. Obviously, after the last game, Lippi said very truthfully that the Dragon team's playing style and formation tend to be fixed. How come it has changed so much in the blink of an eye? A small change every day. A big change in 3 days. When did the world famous coach become a big liar of the Dragon country? Really, please be a human being. It was not only the head coach of the Uzbek team who was caught off guard. His players were also confused. Should they play according to the tactics arranged by the head coach before the game? Or make temporary changes on the court? Before the game started, the Uzbek team's starting 11 had different tactical ideas. Seeing that the Dragon team used a 5-defender formation, the Uzbek team's front court players wanted to stabilize the situation first, and then seek opportunities to score through layers of penetration. But the backcourt players didn't think so. The Dragon team only had 1 person on the front line, so there was definitely not much pressure on the defense. Why not quickly strengthen the offense according to the head coach's pre-match deployment? The Dragon team only used a change in formation to let the Uzbek team's players use the midfield as a dividing line. They were completely divided into 2 groups. Half of the people were called the Uzbek front court team, and the other half were called the Uzbek backcourt team. They fell apart in an instant. In the words of the Dragon country, this is called a fallout. In this case, who has the advantage between the Dragon team and the Uzbek team? The judgment couldn't be clearer, right? The facts also proved that people's judgment was correct. The game started for less than 10 minutes. The fierce Golden Dragon King Xiao Chenhui received a 45-degree diagonal pass from Hao Junmin, who was inserted from the back row. Xiao Chenhui accurately predicted the landing point of the football and got in position first. Just like Optimus Prime in Transformers, he stood in the penalty area of the Uzbek team. No matter how hard the opponent's central defender hit him, he didn't move at all. Then when the football fell, he jumped up on the spot. He overpowered the central defender and blasted a powerful header. The goalkeeper of the Uzbek team sighed. He didn't even have time to make a save and watch the football hit the goal fiercely. It wasn't that he was slow to react. It was really that Xiao Chenhui's header was too fierce. It was like a battle axe falling from the sky. Who can withstand it? After Xiao Chenhui scored this header, the mentality of the Dragon team members was more relaxed, and endless offensive routines came as they came. Especially Sun Xiang and Hao Junmin, who were arranged by Lippi as 2 wing backs. They turned into 2 sharp knives. They were really used by Lippi. They kept stabbing the Uzbek team's soft spots on both sides. They delivered sufficient ammunition to the front court. You should know that Hao Junmin was originally a midfielder. Later, in the season, when he played in the Bundesliga, he was transformed into a fullback because there were many good players on the wing. Maybe in defense, he can play a limited role, but in the absence of too many defensive tasks, passing forward is his strong point. Especially now that he is in the position of fullback, avoiding the Uzbek team's defenders. Various passing actions are done more calmly. Even the accuracy and quality of the pass have improved a lot. Although Sun Xiang, the wingback on the other side, is not a midfielder, but a genuine left back. But his characteristic is that he has a strong assist ability. When he played for the Dutch team before, his defensive ability has always been an important factor for the team coach to exclude him. But in Lippi's 5-defender system, Sun Xiang, like Hao Junmin, does not need to take on too many defensive tasks. He only needs to focus on output. So Sun Xiang's characteristics are also fully utilized. He and Hao Junmin are fighting on both sides of the wing. This is a headache for the Uzbek team's wingers, because they not only have to face the successive attacks of Sun Xiang and Hao Junmin, but also have to be on guard against Wu Lei and Wei Shihao, who retreat between the wingers and the wing forwards. When the head coach arranged the tactics before the game, he did not say that they would take on such a heavy defensive task. If in the last game, Lippi specially arranged special tasks for Xiao Chenhui and Zheng Zhi, making them the two cores at the front and back ends, then in this game, the core players became Sun Xiang and Hao Junmin, using defenders as the core of enriching the style of play and passing and connecting. Can you imagine it? The head coach of the Uzbek team really wants to pull apart Lippi's silver hair to see how his brain circuit is structured. He is a very old man. How can his brain circuit be so strange? In the 19th and 34th minutes of the first half, the Dragon team completed two smooth cooperations. Hao Junmin once again attracted enough firepower on the wing. Then he passed the ball to Wu Lei in front. After Wu Lei received the ball, he continued to create killing opportunities on the wing. He shook off two defenders one after another, and then made a juggling pass. The single striker Xiao Chenhui took advantage of the situation and hooked the ball in the air. He scored the second goal of the game. Sun Xiang on the other wing also performed bravely. He and the young Wei Shihao made two consecutive 2-on-1 wall cooperations. The Uzbek wing defense was dissolved invisibly. Then Wei Shihao dribbled the ball inside to the ribs. With a wonderful heel pass, the ball was passed back to Sun Xiang, who was inserted. Sun Xiang made a straight pass without stopping the ball. Xiao Chenhui took the ball first with lightning speed. When the goalkeeper chose to attack, he activated the SSS level skill pendulum pass. After 3 dribbles and 1 dribble, Uzbekistan's goal was left empty. Xiao Chenhui then performed a scene that Dragon Country fans have long been accustomed to, pushing the ball into the empty goal and scoring. Before the end of the first half, the Dragon team was already leading 3-0. Golden Dragon King Xiao Chenhui performed the first hat-trick in his national team career. The Uzbekistan team was completely stunned and failed to get out of the quagmire of the city's loss in the remaining time. In the second half, Wu Lei sneaked in and conceded another goal. In the end, they lost the game with a big score of 4-0. Watching the Dragon team ascend to the throne of the group leader. Chapter 196, advancing to the top 8. After 2 group matches, the Dragon team won 2 games and successfully won 6 points. With a 7-goal advantage, they topped the group. They are likely to qualify as the first in the group and enter the quarterfinals. You have to know that, since the brief glory of the 2004 Asian Cup, the Dragon team has not made it through the group stage of the Asian Cup for 11 years. The past 2007 and 2011 Asian Cups brought only endless pain to the Dragon players and fans. So most of the Dragon team players are very excited. They want to burst out all their strength and knock down Sutter in the last game of the group stage. Enter the quarterfinals with a perfect record. At this time, head coach Lippi suddenly called all the members together. Then he poured cold water on everyone. Strive for a perfect victory? No. Our goal is to enter the quarterfinals and then go further. So we can't spend all our energy in the group stage. We must save some energy for the next games. And through the analysis of the standings, we can see that if we enter the quarterfinals as the first in the group, we will face the Australian team, which has the advantage of home operations. Their strength is top-notch in Asia, and this cup is a home game, so each of them will burst out 200% of their energy. So our goal is to strive for the second place in the group. In the quarterfinals, we will be assigned with our neighboring Sakura country. When we meet them, you can burst out with all your potential. Lippi is an old hand. When to advance and when to retreat. He knows it in his heart. When encountering something, he only knows to rush forward without knowing how to turn around. He is a fool. Does Lippi look like a fool? Whoever wants to take the first place in this group can take it. Lippi doesn't want to be the scapegoat. Moreover, he has coached the Yangcheng Hengda team in Longguo for several years, and he can be regarded as an expert in Longguo. He knows that there are irreconcilable historical contradictions between Longguo and Cherry Blossom Country. When encountering Cherry Blossom Country in the game, Longguo players can always burst out with amazing energy. Although the strength of Cherry Blossom Country is comparable to that of the host Australia. But for Longguo players, it is actually completely different. confronting Australia, which has the advantage of being the host, or fighting with the natural enemy cherry blossom country. How can it be the same state? What's more, in the competition, it is necessary to reasonably allocate physical energy and adjust the state so that the player's state can burst out when it should burst out. This is what an excellent head coach should do, instead of exhausting the physical energy and state of the players in advance for the sake of momentary pleasure. Not only in football games, in other competitions and even major events such as the Olympics, many head coaches will make the same choice. To explain it with the Longguo military strategy, this is called not caring about the gains and losses of a city or a place. It's just like students taking exams. The usual tests are to accumulate strength and find deficiencies. The final college entrance examination is the key to leaping over the Dragon Gate. If you give your best in the college entrance examination, you can make the final decision. If you always ask yourself to get high scores in every test and squeeze out your last bit of potential, you may not be able to perform normally in the college entrance examination. It would be a pity if you are crushed by the huge psychological pressure and perform poorly. That's why Lippi held this discussion meeting and put his opinions in front of everyone in the Dragon team. It's just that the Dragon players' habit has always been to always strive for the first place. Because every time they go to an international competition, the Pig Association always likes to play the trick of yin and yang contracts. It claims to the outside world that playing at a high level and playing in a style, but sets rigid indicators for the players internally. It doesn't matter how strong each Dragon team is. First, the rigid rule of always striving for the first place is revealed. Force the players to go all out from the first game, and wish that the players can defeat all opponents with a crushing attitude. They don't know what flexibility is. But the question is, does the Dragon team under the Pig Association have the strength to crush its opponents? Being crushed is more like it. The poor performance of Dragon country football over the years is definitely related to the brute force mentality of the Pig Association. For the Pig Association, even if it is only the first in the group, it is also a capital for political achievements. It is also easy to report to the higher-ups. Therefore, the vast majority of Dragon country players are forced to accept the thinking mode under the Pig agreement from the first day of their professional careers. It has been deeply rooted for so many years. Therefore, the players of the Dragon team couldn't turn around for a while and looked at each other. It was obvious that some of them could not accept Lippi's suggestions. At the critical moment, it was the captain Xiao Chenhui who stood up and helped the players unify their thoughts. Think carefully, what is the purpose of our coming to Australia? Is it to be the first in the group or the final champion? Only if we win the championship of this Asian Cup can we prove the significance of the existence of the Dragon team. Otherwise, what is the meaning of our coming here after hard struggles and internal park competitions? In every Asian Cup, there will be several first in the group, but there is only one champion in the end. What is remembered by history is only the champion. Who cares which team is the runner-up, not to mention the first in the group? After Xiao Chenhui said this, the members of the Dragon team finally got confused. Yes, there are 4 groups in the Asian Cup, A, B, C, and D. There will be a first in each group. But what does it mean? Even if you get the first in the group, the winner may not necessarily be the first in the group. Italy always stumbles in the group stage of the World Cup. Germany always performs unsatisfactory in the group stage of the World Cup. Spain has also lost to Swiss unexpectedly. But what is the final result? Everyone on earth knows. The differences are finally eliminated. Lippi's tactical thinking was highly unified. So in the third group match against Sate, Lippi sent out a half main, half substitute lineup. He continued to stick to the 5-4-1 formation. All the players who had not been given a chance to play in the previous 2 group matches made their debuts. Yan Zihao, who had recovered from his injury, Li Zupeng on the bench, Zhu Xin, who had played for less than half an hour before, and the only substitute goalkeeper Li Shuai, all started. The only 2 who remained unshakable were Xiao Chenhui and Zheng Zhi. Lippi's purpose in arranging the troops in this way was very clear. He wanted to use the powerful Sate team to hone the players and find out the shortcomings. After all, the Dragon team was not established for a long time. Various problems must exist objectively. It's just that Xiao Chenhui's performance in the first 2 group matches was too eye-catching. Some problems were covered up. If there are problems, they should be brought to the surface as soon as possible. It would be too late to find problems in the knockout stage. Solapy took Wu Lei, Zhang and others who had a good understanding with Xiao Chenhui. He also wanted to see how far Xiao Chenhui, who was in a passive position, could go without the assistance of Wu Lei and Zhang. Facts have proved that Xiao Chenhui is absolutely worthy of the trust of any head coach. In the match against Sate, Xiao Chenhui still performed strongly. He contributed a goal and an assist in 65 minutes. He led the Dragon team with a semi-substitute lineup to a 2-2 tie with Sate. He almost completed the tactical goal set by Lippi by himself. He helped the Dragon team successfully avoid the host Australia team in the subsequent quarterfinals. Since 2004, it has entered the quarterfinals of the Asian Cup for the first time in 11 years. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197. Enemies are envious of each other. After 3 days of rest, the quarterfinals of the Asian Cup began. The Dragon team moved to the Sydney Stadium. They will enter a brutal knockout match with the Sakura country to decide a place in the semi-finals. Before the game started, the head coach of the Dragon team, Lippi, just arranged the tactics normally. He didn't say a word of extra encouragement. It's unnecessary. There has never been a friendly match between the Dragon country and the Sakura country. The encounter must be a fight of life and death. The importance of the game itself, and the factors that cannot be ignored off the field. The always self-righteous big association had to bow its head, allow domestic media and reporters to broadcast the game live, and also sent the new deputy head Rang Xixing to the scene to cheer for the Dragon team. Rang Xixing's arrival foreshadowed a signal. The thinking of the head of the pig association, Xiao, began to change. You know, the person with the best character in the Dragon country football world is Rang Xixing. His Xixing style is the benchmark of Dragon country football ethics and professional attitude. Xiao took down Zhang Jian and sent Rang Xixing. It means that he may have figured out some things. He is ready to re-establish a good relationship with the Dragon team. But perhaps the position of the Grandmaster puts him too high. He can't lower his head for a while. So let Rang Xixing come out to ease the atmosphere. After all, the Dragon team made it to the quarterfinals. It is the best result of Dragon country football in the Asian Cup in 11 years. It avoids the embarrassment of going home after the group stage. Xiao is not blind. How could he not see the results of the Dragon team? From the results and attitude of the Dragon team, Xiao gradually figured it out. The Dragon team is indeed stronger than the Dragon country team. Anyway, they are all teams from Dragon country. As the Grandmaster, of course he has to support the team with better results. For the members of the Dragon team, Rang Xixing's arrival is undoubtedly a huge encouragement. Putting aside the level of the pig association, Rang Xixing's Dragon country senior can come in person to cheer, which is enough to raise the fighting spirit of the Dragon team boys to a higher level. It was like the trainees of a boy band who had just debuted. When they saw the 4 Heavenly Kings come to support them in person, they would definitely sing and dance with all their might. Otherwise, they would not be worthy of the attention of the 4 Heavenly Kings. So before stepping onto the court, Xiao Chenhui patted the team badge on his chest with his right hand. He shouted to his teammates behind him, "Fight." The starting players responded with a roar, "Kill Xiao." Then, the 11 starting players of the Dragon team were like the warriors of Longguo Mountain who stepped onto the battlefield. With amazing momentum, they walked into the court without hesitation. As soon as they appeared, all the Dragon people at the scene immediately burst into deafening shouts. Even Rang Xixing felt his eyes brighten. The reason is simple. People have not seen this kind of domineering attitude of Dragon players for too long. To deal with Xiao, you have to show this attitude. The Dragon fans who failed to arrive at the scene cheered in an alternative way. They dug up the video of Xiao Chenhui yelling at the stands before the match between Brescia and AC Milan in the Italian Cup last season. In the video, facing the provocation of Honda Kisuke, a player from the Sakura country, Xiao Chenhui shouted 3 times in Dragon Country dialect, English and Italian respectively, "I'd rather Dragon Country not have grass. I'd rather Dragon Country be full of souls." As for the 2 omitted sentences, everyone in Dragon Country knows them. Some fans also made short videos of Xiao Chenhui breaking Nagatomo Yuto's supporting leg in the game, breaking through Honda Kisuke with speed in the Italian Cup final, and passing the ball to himself 3 seconds later. They were posted on major networks, making many Dragon Country fans who had not seen these famous scenes very excited. The vast number of Dragon Country fans saw it. It turns out that we have players who specialize in restraining the Sakura country's little nest. What are we afraid of? Just do it. The atmosphere was instantly set off to the commanding heights. On the court, the players of both sides lined up to enter the field. After the caddies left the field, a series of pre-match procedures began, including group photos, handshakes and side selection. What surprised the Sakura players was that the handshakes of the Dragon players, who were very young on average, were so strong. This was rare in the past. Are they still the sheep team that can be bullied by everyone? Why do they feel like they are facing a tiger or a wolf? There is a fierce light in their eyes. Hiwei, who was in the commentary booth, keenly captured the emotional changes of the Dragon players. He also became excited. Dear audience, the atmosphere at the scene has been filled with the smell of gunpowder from the very beginning. The boys of our Dragon team have obviously sharpened their knives. They regard the stadium as a battlefield and the football under their feet as a sword in their hands. This reminds me of the famous song composed by the composer May Crossing in the last century. Come on. Let's cheer for the Dragon team together and wish the boys success and win the flag. Under the passionate leadership of Hiwei, the familiar melody rang out from the mouths of the Dragon Country fans at the scene. The sword chops at the heads of the nests. March of the Swords. Seeing this posture, the referee of this game dared not delay any longer. He hurriedly urged the players of both sides to go to their respective positions. Then he blew the whistle to start the game. He was afraid that, if he delayed any longer, the energetic boys of the Dragon team would really take out their swords. That was no joke. Who doesn't know that Dragon Country and Sakura Country are enemies who are extremely jealous of each other? As the game started, Hiwei's excitement was slightly suppressed. Partnering with Zanjun, he began to explain the starting lineup of the game. Dear audience, let's return to the game in front of us and pay attention to the starting lineups of both teams. First, on the Chinese Dragon team side, head coach Lippi changed the 5-4-1 formation used in the previous 2 games and used a 3-5-2 formation that had never been used before. On the striker position, captain number 10 Xiao Chenhui is the main force that cannot be shaken, and his partner is number 7 Wu Lei. The unmanned configuration in the midfield is divided into 2 echelons, front and back. Standing in the front are Zhang's, Wei Shihao, and Hao Junmin. Among them, Zhang's position looks like a forward midfielder, and the positions of the other 2 are a bit like wing midfielders. The 2 people at the back are veteran Zheng Zhi and young player Wang Shangqian, who are standing in the position of defensive midfielder. The 3 people on the back line are Liu Yiming, Gao Zunai and veteran Sun Xiang. The starting goalkeeper of this game is still number 1 player Yan Junling. Zanjun then explained the lineup of Sakura Country. Let's take a look at the starting 11 of Sakura Country. They arranged a traditional 4-4-2 formation. Kisuke Honda and Shinji Okazuki are the 2 forwards, and the midfield is led by Shinji Kagawa, Endo Yasuhito, Hasebe Makoto, and Shibasaki Gaku. The 4 players on the back line are Naoto Shiuda, Maya Yoshida, Takato Kusake, and Atsuto Uchida. It is worth mentioning that the main fullback of Sakura Country, Yuto Nagatomo, was broken his leg by our country's Golden Dragon King Xiao Chenhui in this season's Serie A. He is still recovering and has not been able to make his debut. His main position has been replaced by Naoto Shiuda. Zanjun is a very serious person and rarely mixes personal emotions when commenting. But when he said this, he almost laughed directly. Seeing this, Hiwei quickly grabbed the microphone and rushed to save the situation. The last line of defense for Sakura Country is their veteran goalkeeper Reiji Kawashima. This is the entire starting lineup of Sakura Country. After the last sentence of the commentary, he turned off the microphone. He looked at Zanjun with a face full of resentment. "Brother, why did you have an accident?" Zanjun covered his mouth and said, "Sorry, the scene where Xiao Wo's legs were broken by Xiao Chenhui was too comfortable. I never get tired of watching it. I couldn't help it." Chapter 198 Unfavorable Start. In the first 15 minutes of the game, the Dragon team and the players of Sakura Country were in a deadlock. Every inch of the field was a battlefield for their life and death struggle. The scene of people falling down and horses falling down appeared again and again. After the referee gave 6 verbal warnings helplessly, he finally showed the first yellow gem card of the game. It was handed to the head of Wang Shangyuan, a player of Dragon Country. In a defense just now, Wang Shangyuan fell to the ground and slid without hesitation. He stopped the attack launched by Shinji Kagawa of Sakura Country. But perhaps because of being too excited, Wang Shangyuan was obviously a little bit excited. The action was a little big. Although there was no malicious intention to hurt people, he still tackled Shinji Kagawa. This yellow card was not unfair at all. As the captain, Xiao Chenhui hurried over. While encouraging and highly recognizing Wang Shangyuan's enthusiasm, he reminded him a few words, asking him to pay attention to his actions. Don't get a card for excessive actions. In fact, young players like Wang Shangyuan appeared in the international arena for the first time on behalf of Dragon Country football. Excitement is inevitable. But in addition to excitement, there will be some panic. Just like his previous graceful commentary, the young men who enter the bridal chamber for the first time are destined to be blushing. They know very well what they want to do, but they always can't find the way. After all, who hasn't had a first time? There are many members of the Dragon team who have the same mentality as Wang Shangyuan. Except for Xiao Chenhui, who has a big heart, there is no psychological fluctuation. There are also Zheng Zhi, Sun Xiang and Hao Junmin, 3 players who often appear in international competitions. Among the 11 starting players of the Dragon team, most of them have the same mentality as Wang Shangyuan. In the final analysis, the Dragon team was formed less than a month ago, and most of them are young guys. The unstable mentality and lack of experience are always the biggest problems they need to face. If it weren't for Zheng Zhi and other veterans, the Dragon team would not have successfully created the best results in 11 years and easily reached the quarterfinals. Compared with the youth and immaturity of the Dragon team, the players of Sakura Country seem much more mature. Their fouls are hidden and cunning, and all of them are outside the scope of getting a card. Even if the referee finds their fouls, he will not show the card. At most, he will give a verbal warning. To put it bluntly, they just use the rules reasonably, or skirt the rules. Using the minimum cost to obtain the greatest benefits is in line with the life values of Sakura Country. If we talk about the overall environment, in fact, the development of football in Sakura Country has long been ahead of Dragon Country. Take the starting 11 for example. Among the players of Sakura Country, there are as many as 9 players who play in the top 5 European leagues, and players the main force or the main substitute. The biggest star of the team, Shinji Kagawa, returned to the Bundesliga Dortmund at the beginning of this season after 2 years of sinking in Manchester United, and his performance showed signs of recovery. Being able to play for 2 giants, Manchester United and Dortmund, has already reflected his value. Among the other starting players, Kisu Konda plays for AC Milan, and is Xiao Chenhui's old rival in Serie A. Several players, including Shinji Okazuki, Makoto Hasebe, Atsuto Uchida, etc., play for different teams in the Bundesliga. Mei Yoshida, who plays on the backline, plays for Southampton in the Premier League. If you add Hiroshi Kiyomi, Takashi Inu, Yoshinori Muto and others on the bench, in the 23-man roster of Sakura Country, almost half of the players play in the top 5 European leagues. Although most of the players of the Dragon team also play in Europe. But the young guys are either fighting for the main position, or playing in the B team. At this stage, there are really few who can really gain a foothold in the top 5 European leagues. In terms of overall strength, the Dragon team is still a long way behind Sakura Country. So in the 22nd minute of the game, the scene that Dragon Country fans least wanted to see appeared. After a Sakura country player shot off the post, Yang Junling quickly passed the ball. He handed the ball to Liu Yiming on the backline. Liu Yiming observed the situation on the field and kicked the ball to the side. Heo Junmin got the ball. After breaking through Endo Yasuhito's defense, he sent the ball to the middle with a diagonal pass. Zhang Ziz took the ball with his back to the goal and was about to turn around. Unexpectedly, Sakura country's back midfielder Hasib Makoto relied on his rich game experience to predict Zhang Ziz's next move. When Zhang Ziz half turned his body and had not yet turned completely around, Hasib Makoto directly did a black tiger heart piercing and kicked a first kick from the side and back of Zhang Ziz through his body. He cut off the football. After completing the interception, Hasib Makoto took a step forward and blocked the position with his body. This prevented Zhang Ziz from forming a counter-attack in the first time. At the same time, Hasib Makoto used his body to cover Zhang Ziz with his right shoulder. Zhang Ziz's thin body weakness was instantly magnified. In the block and collision, he staggered back a small half step. He completely lost the opportunity to counter-steal. He could only watch Hasib Makoto walk away with the ball. Sakura country thus entered the rhythm of turning defense into offense. This was supposed to be a counter-attack opportunity for the Dragons, but Hasib Makoto easily intercepted the ball, causing the Dragons fans to sigh. However, the sighs were not over yet. It turned into complete silence. After the interception, Hasib Makoto quickly dribbled the ball forward. When he saw Zheng Zhi rushing towards him frantically, he immediately stopped advancing and calmly passed the ball to Shibasa Kigaku in front of him. In the tactical arrangement of the Sakura country, they did not pay much attention to the wing tactics. Therefore, in the 4-man combination in the midfield, there was no position for the winger. Instead, it was a triangle layout with Shinji Kagawa in front and the other 3 behind. Shibasa Kigaku pushed the ball horizontally without stopping. The ball rolled to Shinji Kagawa's feet. The pass between the 3 people was just a triangle. The players of the Sakura country used such a triangle pass to leave Wang Shangyuan hanging in the middle of the interception. Zheng Zhi and Wang Shangyuan lost their positions one after another. Zhang Ziz was left behind by Hasib Makoto again. The midfield defense of the Dragons was broken. Heo Junmin and Wei Shiheo on both sides rushed over at the fastest speed, but it was obviously too late. Shinji Kagawa drove straight in with the ball. Honda Kisuke and Akazuki Shinji on the front line immediately ran to the 2 ribs in the direction of the Dragon team's penalty area. They took Sun Xiang and Gao Junai to the 2 sides. This allowed Shinji Kagawa to face Liu Yiming's defense directly. In the one-on-one defense, Liu Yiming's inexperience became his weakness. Shinji Kagawa used realistic fake moves to shake left and right continuously. The immature Liu Yiming was soon shaken and lost his center of gravity and could no longer restrain Shinji Kagawa's footsteps. Facing the last line of defense of the Dragon team, Shinji Kagawa calmly kicked the ball to the far post. Although Yan Junling had made a leap to save the ball, he was still out of reach. Seeing the football brush past his fingertips and fall into the goal with a spin, the Dragon country fans in the stadium were silent. Chapter 199. Dragon team equalizes the score. If it were in the past, seeing the Sakura country break through the Dragon country's goal, the fans would definitely scold. But it was not the case today. The fans gave the Dragon team's boys the greatest tolerance and encouragement. After all, the boys have tried very hard. Their struggle on the field is visible to every Dragon country fan who has the heart to say something unpleasant. The players have a bad attitude. They defend with their eyes and walk around to avoid the ball. Of course, they will be scolded. But the players have tried their best to fight. If they still have to be scolded, it means that the fans are irrational. So the Dragon country fans at the scene just chose to remain silent. There was no bad words. Instead, Gao Lin, Dawu and other former internationals who were sitting in front of the TV watching the game. They laughed maliciously and gloatingly. These guys didn't play that well. Were they defeated by the Sakura country? That's right, the media still boasted about the best record in 11 years. I spit on their faces. I think they were just lucky, barely qualified from the group stage, and they will be beaten back to square one in this game. Haha, look at Zheng Zhi's face. He betrayed the Dragon country team and joined the Dragon team. Isn't he still a stinky face? What's changed? If their conversation was heard by the vast number of Dragon Country fans, they would probably be spit on. Do you still have any shame? The Dragon team succeeded in breaking through the group stage, and they also won 2 hearty victories. What qualifications do you, the Walking King and Dodgeball Emperor who only know how to cause trouble for sea cucumbers, have to comment on the Dragon team? Why don't you look in the mirror and see what kind of people you are? If you were really capable, would you let the fans struggle in the dark and wait for 11 years? What the hell? Just as several former internationals were gloating, the Sakura Country fans took advantage of the situation and launched a fierce counter-attack on the scene and online. The fans at the scene shouted at the top of their lungs. They raised their ugly flags as high as they could. They booed the Dragon Country fans at the scene. The fans on the internet were even more arrogant. All kinds of vicious language flooded in. Wow. Look at those lowly dragon people. They have all turned into wooden men. Before the game, they were bragging that this Dragon team was a European legion. I think they are even worse than the Dragon trash in the past. A bunch of young boys playing for the B team of a European club dare to call themselves a European legion. It's so funny. Hey, you have to understand the Dragon people's habit of bragging. They have continued this habit for thousands of years. Isn't it said that Dragon Xiao is very powerful? Why can't I see that at all? Was he invisible in the first 20 minutes of the game? It is said that Dragon fans have given him a nickname called Golden Dragon King. It seems that he is a wimp. The comments of the little nesters were transmitted to the game side through the internet. In the stands, dedicated to the fans, a loud singing suddenly rang out. Cut the heads of the Wozy with a big knife. The warriors of the Dragon Country are brave and move forward. Destroy him. Destroy him. After a short silence, the Dragon Country fans chose to explode. Aren't the little Wozy very arrogant on the internet? Then we will confront them directly on the spot. No matter what, the momentum must not be lost. The singing on the spot moved every member of the Dragon team. They felt as if something was ignited in their chests. The blood in their bodies boiled instantly. Even every drop of sweat that flowed out was scorching hot, like magma erupting from the ground. Brothers, the game is not over yet. For the fans who cheered us on, for the difficulty of us standing on the Asian Cup field, for every drop of sweat we usually sweat in training, fight. Xiao Chenhui raised his arms and shouted as the captain. It aroused the more vigorous fighting spirit of the members of the Dragon team. It is better that the Dragon Country has no grass. It is better that the Dragon Country is full of souls. There has never been any peaceful coexistence between the Sakura Country and the Dragon team. Only war. Only death. After the restart, the Dragon team's young men fought harder and ran more actively. Just like the new force that just appeared on the field. The players of the Sakura Country had not yet recovered from the joy of the goal and were stunned by the group of vigorous young men in front of them. It felt like they had become omnipotent Super Saiyans. Whether it was attacking or defending, whether it was dribbling or passing, it seemed that all kinds of attributes suddenly improved a lot. The kind that completely broke through the limit. It was a completely reborn change from before. While the Sakura Country had not yet adapted to the rhythm changes of the Dragon team. The Dragon team, led by Xiao Chenhui, launched a strong and swift offensive. The 7th minute after Shinji Kagawa of the Sakura Country scored, the 29th minute of the game, Xiao Chenhui, who retreated to the midfield, ran tirelessly and appeared like a ghost on the passing route of Hasebe Makoto. He intercepted his pass and passed it back to veteran Zheng Zhi. Then he turned and ran towards the backcourt of Sakura Country. Zheng Zhi did not stop after getting the ball and knocked the ball to Wang Shangyuan, who was not guarded. After getting the ball, Wang Shangyuan showed the potential of a B2B midfielder. He dribbled the ball all the way from his own backcourt. He crossed the midfield of nearly 30 meters and he dribbled past the defense of Shibasaki Gaku and Endo Yasuto. He rushed from near his own penalty area to more than 10 meters in front of the penalty area of Sakura Country. In the previous game, Wang Shangyuan was indeed a little excited. After Xiao Chenhui's encouragement and the singing of the fans on the scene, he is even more excited now. But he did not forget the captain Xiao Chenhui's reminder. When his blood was boiling, he remained calm enough. The seemingly hot-headed dribbling rush was actually a manifestation of his courage and strength. In every step of the rush, his brain was running at high speed, predicting the opponent's steals in advance. He avoided the steals of 2 Sakura country players in a row. What is a B2B midfielder? Wang Shangyuan is it? Players who are active between the 2 penalty areas and combine offense and defense are called B2B. Arriving at the front of the penalty area of Sakura country more than 10 meters away, Wang Shangyuan did not choose to continue to advance. Compared with midfielders, defenders are undoubtedly more defensive. Wang Shangyuan has a clear understanding of himself. Bringing the ball here is the limit of what he can do at this stage. Perhaps if he continues to train with Bruce for a few more years, he will have the ability to break into the penalty area and challenge the backline. But he is far from it now. So Wang Shangyuan chose to cross without hesitation. He handed the ball to Xiao Chenhui, who was pulled to the ribs. Xiao Chenhui took the ball with his back and knocked it with the arch of his foot in the direction of the ball. He knocked the ball to his striker partner Wu Lei. Then he turned around and passed the Sakura country defender Yoshida Maya, who was behind him. He ran towards the hinterland of the penalty area. After taking the ball, Wu Lei first made a fake move to break through. This made Sake Takatoku, another central defender of Sakura country, hesitate and did not dare to rush to grab the ball, but chose to defend steadily. Wu Lei's footwork changed immediately. Fake breakthrough, real pass, knocked the ball into the penalty area, just in front of Xiao Chenhui. Simple and effective 2-on-1 wall. The forwards of the Dragon team cooperated with each other through tacit passing and running. They tore through the defense of the 2 central defenders of the Sakura country. Xiao Chenhui, who got a single-handed opportunity, showed his unique skills. Pendulum pass, 3 shakes and 2 dunks. The goalkeeper of the Sakura country, Kawashima Yangji, lay in front of Xiao Chenhui like a dead dog. There was no power to resist. Xiao Chenhui faced the empty goal and gently pushed it with the arch of his foot. 1-1. The Dragon team tenaciously tied the score, pulled the 2 sides back to the same starting line. Led by the poet Hiwei, the Dragon country fans at the scene burst into loud cheers, resounding throughout the Sydney Stadium. Chapter 200 Hero Xiao Chenhui. In the remaining time of the first half, the Dragon team took advantage of the situation and launched wave after wave of fierce attacks. Again, the head coach of Sakura country quickly made tactical adjustments. Standing on the sidelines, he shouted at the players of Sakura country to switch from offense to defense, entering the rhythm of defensive counterattack. There is no way. Although Sakura country's paper strength is stronger than Dragon team's attack in recent times is too fierce. It's like risking their lives. If we don't strengthen our defense, we may be beaten to death by their random punches. However, the strength of the players of Sakura country is there after all. It is absolutely the top level in Asia. In the case of full-scale retreat, Dragon team still failed to pursue the victory and knock on the opponent's goal for the second time. The 2 sides entered the halftime break with a score of 1-1. The players rested, but the fans at the scene refused to rest. The fans of the 2 countries were like fighting in a ring. You showed an 80 decibel phonograph. I took out a 90 decibel loudspeaker. You raised a 100 decibel amplifier. I will bear the 120 decibel blast. Not convinced? Then add more decibels. Come on. Let's see whether the east wind prevails over the west wind, or the west wind prevails over the east wind. You little people in the country of cherry blossoms sing Song of Cherry Blossoms? How come we dragons can't sing March of the Broadsword? Not only do we have March of the Broadsword, but we also have dozens of red songs such as The Great Wall Will Never Fall, The Yellow River Cantata, Singing the Little Cowherd and so on. How dare a small country like this dare to compete with us in this? Kill you. During the entire halftime break, the singing of Dragon fans was getting louder and louder. It never stopped. The atmosphere of tit-for-tat between the fans of both sides made the referee a little unbearable. He really wanted to give a red card to the fans of both sides. Drive out the fans of both sides. It's a pity. The referee's card can only be used against the coaches and players of both sides. He has no authority to control the fans. Fortunately, the halftime break was only 15 minutes. It would pass if you were patient. The players of both teams returned to the court. The sharp-eyed Huey immediately noticed the changes in the players of Sakura country. It seems that Agi will actively seek changes in the second half. There was a change in their starting 11. Kiyate Kiraji replaced Akazuki Shinji. Sakura country used up a substitution at the beginning of the second half. Zanjun added, "That's right. Kiyate Kiraji is a very offensive midfielder. Compared with Akazuki Shinji, his control in the midfield is obviously stronger. Sakura country is going to strengthen its control over the midfield. In football matches, there has always been a saying, he who controls the midfield controls the world. Whoever can control the rhythm of the midfield is one step closer to the final victory." Agi obviously wanted to gain control of the midfield by adding a midfielder. In the last 20 minutes of the first half, the Dragon team showed a better control than the Sakura country, and through the fight in the midfield, they scored a goal to tie the score. Of course, Agi had to clamp down on the Dragon team on this point. Besides, Hiroji Sitake has strong offensive ability. When Sakura country needs to organize an attack, he can assist Shinji Kagawa in the midfield and become the second organizer. And when the opportunity arises, he can also rush forward to the shadow striker position to complete a fatal blow. This is equivalent to Sakura country having an additional 9.5-year-old player with flexible running position. It can occupy local advantages in both the front line and the midfield. Enrich the team's offensive system. Facts have proved that Agi's idea is not wrong. Shortly after the start of the second half, Hiroji Sitake used flexible running positions to create two killing opportunities. One was to help Shinji Kagawa penetrate the ball into the penalty area of the Dragon team. Shinji Kagawa cleverly knocked the ball with his heel. Passed the ball back to Kisu Konda, who was standing near the penalty spot. This distance is Kisu Konda's favorite. You don't have to fight with the central defender of the Dragon team. You can also play the advantage of his mid-range shooting. It's a pity that his shot was too straight and was saved by Yan Junling at the bottom line. Another chance. It was Hiroshi Kiyotake who dribbled past the young Liu Yiming with his personal ability. Then he kicked the ball under the interference of veteran Sun Xiang. If there had been no interference from Sun Xiang, the ball would have definitely gone in. It was precisely because of Sun Xiang's persistent pursuit and defense that Hiroshi Kiyotake's shooting action was slightly affected. The football kicked out in the end was a little soft, although it was lifted over Yan Junling's head. But Liu Yiming, who was actively returning to defense, made up for it. At the moment, when the football was about to cross the goal line, he jumped up and headed the football out. After many unsuccessful attacks, the mentality of the Sakura country players became a little impatient. You know, since the retirement of Yang Chen's group of older Dragon country players, the Dragon country players began to gradually lose their fighting spirit. They have been suppressed by Sakura country for nearly 10 years. When playing against Dragon country players, the Sakura country players are about to have a natural sense of superiority. Almost every time they can press the Dragon country players to the ground and rub them. This time, they suddenly encountered a group of young Dragon country guys who kicked so fiercely, dragging the game into a stalemate. This was far beyond the expectations of the players of Sakura country. Besides, among these Dragon country guys, apart from a few familiar faces, half of them even played in the B team of European clubs, and they had not really played in the professional league yet. Almost all of the starting lineup was from Sakura country, which played in the top 5 European leagues. If they capsized in the small ditch of the Dragon team, it would be a shame. As Shinji Kagawa and his team gradually became impatient, the boys of the Dragon team played more and more easily. After withstanding 2 threatening attacks from Sakura country, the members of the Dragon team seemed to have experienced 2 spiritual baptisms. They quickly became mature. It was like they had grown from big boys to men overnight. They could look at problems more rationally and calmly find solutions to problems. As one grew stronger, the other grew weaker. In the first 30 minutes of the second half, the 2 sides played evenly. No one got too much advantage. In the 75th minute of the game, the head coach of the Dragon team, Lippi, made a substitution. He replaced Wang Shangqian, who was almost cramped, with the more experienced Tuang Bowen. Li Zupeng, who was full of energy, replaced the exhausted veteran Sun Xiang. Through the substitution, Lippi sent the signal of full-scale attack to the court. Years of experience in the arena told Lippi, the mentality of the players of Sakura country has changed, and their physical fitness has dropped significantly. It is the best time to attack and kill the game. The coaching ability of the world famous coach is unquestionable. Just 5 minutes later, in the 80th minute of the game, Longguo Wen, who had just come on the court, actively fought for the ball and completed the steal from the feet of Shinji Kagawa, who was physically exhausted. Then he launched a counter-attack through a long pass. If it was Shinji Kagawa's peak period, Longguo Wen would have found it difficult to steal the ball from him. But Shinji Kagawa had wasted 2 years at Manchester United and was no longer in his peak state. Previously, he was driven by the boys of the Dragon team and ran all over the court with them. A lot of physical energy was consumed. When he met Longguo Wen, a new force, he naturally could not control the football at will. Veteran Zheng Zhi positioned himself accurately at the landing point of the football. With the height advantage of being a head taller than the Sakura country's defensive midfielder Shibasa Kigaku, he jumped up with all his strength to head the ball. He pressed the small hole and headed the ball to the backcourt of the Sakura country. Generally speaking, the defensive line is behind the defensive midfielder. The two central defenders of the Sakura country quickly started their speed, trying to destroy the football that Zheng Zhi headed over. At the moment, when their bodies rushed out, a golden red lightning suddenly appeared in front of them. Xiao Chenhui, who had activated the anti-offside skill, showed a 100-meter speed of 10.06 seconds. He stretched out his toes and poked the football. Then he spread his legs and passed through the gap between the two Sakura country defenders. In a few big steps, he caught up with the football that he had poked out before. He rushed towards the penalty area like a whirlwind. There is a kind of pass. It is called passing the ball to yourself 3 seconds later. Xiao Chenhui, who sprinted along the straight line, staged a classic again. And behind him, Maya Yoshida and Takatoku Sake could not control their speed and collided fiercely. The same big bump was visibly bulging on the forehead. The two brothers were puzzled. We are both yellow people. Why are you so good from Dragon Country? It's already 80 minutes into the second half, and you can still run so fast? Are you sure you are not an African friend who got into the Dragon team after your skin color changed? In the restricted area of Sakura Country, Xiao Chenhui waved the machete borrowed from Guanerge. He rushed to Chenhui with great momentum. There was a wicked arc at the corner of his mouth, as if to tell Chenhui, I have never made a mistake in a single-handed opportunity. Chenhui nodded subconsciously. Silently said, yes, I believe it. How can I not believe it? The scene of being shaken to death by Xiao Chenhui in the first half is still saved in Chenhui's brain CPU. So, in ancient times, Guanerge killed Huaxiang with warm wine. Today, Xiao Chenhui has 2 small was. The pendulum's extraordinary skill reappeared. Chenhui became a dead dog lying on the ground for the second time. He stuck out his tongue and looked pitifully at Xiao Chenhui's simplest shot into the empty goal. He sent the football into the goal he was guarding. Without waiting for the cheers from the stands, Chenhui buried his head in the grass first. He covered his ears tightly with his gloved hands. He was unwilling to raise his head for a long time. He knew that he was destined to be nailed to the pillar of shame. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.